Good morning, respected dignitaries, honorable speakers, esteemed moderators, dear delegates, researchers, faculty members, and my dear friends. A warm welcome for day two of our conference. We have successfully completed day one. Day two of the conference have been carefully planned to continue academic deliberations to technical sessions, followed by our validity function. Session 4. Yes, topic of the session is strategies for qualitative data collection, analysis from transcription to interpretation, which is highly relevant for researchers engaged in qualitative inquiry. We are honored to have with us our expert speaker, Dr. Bharat Parikh sir, founder of Vision Publishers. Dr. Edna Sweeney ma'am will moderate the session. Edna ma'am has been honored with the Seva Ratna Gold Medal Award by Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University. She is having over 28 years of experience in nursing education and has successfully led several research projects funded by Department of Science and Technology. Edna ma'am has guided 165 research projects and published more than 35 research articles in reputed journals. In addition to her academic and research achievements, Dr. Edna Sweeney ma'am is a certified NPTEL e-teacher in biomedical research and trainer of trainers under Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. I request the moderator to kindly take over the session.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Good morning to one and all present today. It is my honest privilege to be a part of the International Conference 2026, the evolving landscape of research design, ethics, data, and digitalization, organized by the School of Nurse, DRIEMS University, Cuttack, Odisha. Today we have with us the expert speaker, Dr. Bharat Parikh, who is going to discuss with us in this session on the topic strategies for qualitative data collection and analysis from transcription to interpretation. Let us have a brief overview of the expert of the day. Dr. Bharat Parikh, professor of Akal College of Nursing, Eternal University, Himachal Pradesh, and he is the founder of the Vision Health Sciences and Publishers. He holds a PhD in nursing from the National Consortium of PhD in Nursing, from the Nursing Council, and he specializes in psychiatric research and statistics. He is also a nurse entrepreneur and the founder of Vision Health Sciences Publishers, a leading publishing company in India. He has a strong track record of over 16 years of teaching experience, including more than a decade as a vice principal at Saraswati Nursing Institute before his current role. He has also had an international reach by establishing international collaborations with institutions such as, and he also has a good scholarly impact with over 50 research articles in Scopus PubMed Index journals with citation count of exceeding 380. He has authored major textbooks, including Textbook of Psychiatric and Mental Health Nursing, Textbook of Research and Biostatistics, and he has also guided the PhD scholars and supervised the research work of over 100 postgraduate nursing students. He is a speaker and an organizer and delivered over 50 guest lectures and organized numerous workshops and conferences. He is an active member of the ISPN and the NRSI. We are very glad to have Mr. Dr. Bharat Parikh with us to discuss today. To discuss today on the topic strategies for qualitative data collection and analysis from transcription to interpretation. Dr. Bharat Parikh, the session is yours.
Yeah, I need that. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this introduction.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, just a second. Just a minute. Why is it not it?
No, ma'am. Just doing, ma'am.
No, not that one. Okay.
I know where this reception committee.
Maybe I should call him. This
Okay.
fine. First week, like this. Very good.
This is working. So, very good morning to all. So, this is the second day of your conference, and usually the lectures in conferences do not raise your dopamine, right? So, it looks like very boring. But remember, boring things are always takes you to the success, right? We are designed in that way. Like if you do a boring task for couple of years, you'll be the most successful person. Boring means listening your teachers, listening from parents, reading books, keeping a monotonous life, having a schedule, strict routine. But this is how we can succeed in life. So, first of all, thank you so much, Dreams University, Dean Madam, organizing team, and all other people, those who were involved in organizing such a wonderful conferences, because these are the platforms where we share our expertise with each other. What I'm going to discuss is not a new thing for you. Everything is available in books. Your teachers are more competent to teach you what we are going to discuss. But such platforms can be used as an opportunity where you learn to interact, where you learn to raise questions, where you understand what the speakers are talking about. And some of the things like 10, 15, or 20% you can take to your academic journey. So I'll start with the topic qualitative research. So hello, I have to be here only. No?
Sir, you can move also.
That's camera is there. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. It's okay, okay, no problem. So before I proceed to my topic,
Sir, you can move.
okay,
Camera is dynamic.
okay. His camera is like him, dynamic.
Wherever you go, I will come and
No, no. So, okay, that's great. Like organizers, camera is also very dynamic. Uh, it's not moving. Can somebody help me to do that? Yeah.
yes, sir, please take. You can use this.
It's
When you
fine.
move back.
Okay, so before I talk about this topic, how many qualitative researches I have done? Let me tell you that I have done almost four to five researches, and out of that, I was lucky that two or three got published in good journals. So I'm more confident to speak on qualitative researches. It's my keen area of interest. But majority of the nursing students or even scholars hesitate to conduct the qualitative researches. The reason, what I feel is there is no universal rules to conduct the qualitative researches. If you want to do a RCT control trial, there are you know that how to proceed it. Everything is written, well defined. But when you do the qualitative researches, right from starting the topic, selecting a topic and putting an argument, and then finally completing the analysis, it's more your involvement, your expertise. Same topic, different researcher will have a different approach. Or to collect the data from the same subject, sometimes you have to adopt the different strategies. So remember this point. Qualitative researches are the one where we try to understand the phenomena in a detail, develop an insight, and create an abstract theme on that. Like everybody is listening me here. I'm talking about a topic, but suddenly I got a thing that like students sitting at the last might not be interested in this. There's no evidence of that, but this that intuition also play a very important role in qualitative researches. So briefly, I'll talk about the some of the core concepts of qualitative research. Qualitative researches always have a different assumptions and approach than the quantitative research. And when I say different assumptions means they are more holistic in nature. Emergent means evolve over the period of time. As I said, there is no universal rule. Now, if someone asks me how many days it may take to complete a qualitative inquiry, the answer, there is no straight answer for that. How many days it will take to complete the literature review? Even we don't do literature review for many of the qualitative researches. So the point is that the assumptions are different. The outcome understanding is different. So let's talk about briefly about these things. We are more focused on what? Participants' experiences. Here, the reality is not single. Here, the reality is not single. It's a reality what your participants perceived. It is constructed. Like I believe in a Ram, I'm a Hindu. Somebody believe in a Jesus. Two different reality. If you want to study that, so that, but if you go to the science, there's a single reality. Let me give an example here. Am I delivering a good lecture? Yes or no? Is it a single reality? Everyone perceives that I am delivering a good lecture. Yes? This is not a single reality. Am I delivering a lecture? That is a single reality. No one can deny this. Whether you like it or not, I'm standing here, I'm delivering a lecture. But when I ask this, am I delivering a good lecture? You may have a different perception. Some of you, yeah, it's okay, okay. Some will say, yeah, I love it. Some will say, no, I didn't get it. So when the reality is presented very subjectively, then we are talking about the qualitative researches. Then holistic means it's overall understanding of the phenomena. No, why Draupadi, a character in a Mahabharat, why Draupadi married to a 5 people? If you want to understand that, there is no straight answer for this. But you have to have that holistic understanding. It is not about the breaking the things. It is about understanding and narrating a story. Like for example, if you steal something, it's an offense. That's a quantity. Have you steal something? Yes. Okay, it's an offense. But when you ask what the person was to steal, whether it was a money or he has cheated on others or he's just taken a chapati, roti from someone, he steal a chapati to feed the kids, then the story change. So it's a holistic overall understanding of the phenomena. Now this is some of the important things. I think already most of these I covered. In qualitative, we talk about the multiple realities. Is it clear to you? Multiple realities. We live in an era. We live in a world where we have multiple realities. I worship different God than what you. I have a different perception about this topic than you. So when you have multiple realities, then we are talking about the qualitative research and something. Uh, if you know the paradigm that we follow, that is a what we call a constructivist paradigm. What is that constructivism? The reality is constructed. Where in quantitative, we focus on the single reality. If gravitation exists, I'm giving an example. If gravitation exists, it exists everywhere. If I'll throw this from here, from there, from in Mumbai or in any part of this world on the earth, it will gravitate, it will go down, it will have some gravity. That is a universal single reality. If hydrogen and oxygen are being given a composition, it will make a water wherever you are. So reality is a single in a quantitative researches. Here things are different. Okay, and it's very very relevant for nursing profession actually, because when you're dealing with the patients, I often ask my students like, what's the correct way of saying schizophrenic patient or patient with schizophrenia? What is the correct one? How we say schizophrenic patient or patient with schizophrenia? What we say? Wonderful. Why? What's wrong with the schizophrenic patient? If you can have a mic for them, is there? Do they have? You can use this mic. If anybody would like to answer this, what's the difference? If I say schizophrenic patient or I say patient with schizophrenia, what's wrong in this? Anybody would like to answer? Yes, please. Okay. No, I will not proceed. Someone should answer this. You have to, whenever you go for conferences and workshop, just keep this baggage outside. Okay. When I say schizophrenic patient, I'm labeling a patient with a disease. And for me, schizophrenia is more important than the person, schizophrenic patient. But when I say person with schizophrenia, means I'm talking about a person having some illnesses. Schizophrenia is a secondary, and it is something that make my nursing care very individualized. I have to take care of person, not the schizophrenia, right? So what they're saying here, single reality, it is not applicable in many cases. You cannot be very straight. Like for example, how privatization has affected nursing. Can we give a straight answer for this? It has a bad effect or it's a good effect. It has a both. So there is no linear reality when you talk about this kind of things. Then reality is socially constructed. In qualitative research, the reality is socially constructed. Like for example, as I said, if you work 8 hours, it affects your quality of nursing care. All the nurses believe in that, and they have, maybe there is no such data that talks about the quality is impairing or affected, but qualitative research or inquiry will tell you that it is socially constructed, socially accepted. Okay, reality is a context related. What is that? In qualitative research, reality is always seen in the context. Okay, how will you say this? Whenever you conduct an inquiry or whatever is the outcome, the behavior has so many interrelations, so many, what I say, factors. Why the Draupadi married to a 5 person? Why is she married to 5 people? There are so many contexts we have to see. So without understanding the context, you will not able to understand the reality. So reality is always context. But whereas when you talk about a quantitative researches, reality is context free. I have to see a relation among variables. I have to see what happens, what is the outcome. It is not a context. Okay. Then reasoning is inductive, that is holistic. Inductive reasoning means we always try to generalize. In qualitative inquiry, we always try to generalize the things. We always try to conclude the story. Okay. We always try to conclude the story. Whereas discovery of meaning is the basis for knowledge and develop the theory. So ultimately, the purpose, when you generalize something, when you conclude something, eventually you are making a theory. What is a theory? It's just a articulation of concepts that explain a phenomena in a different manner. So these are some of the important features that we should understand. And very briefly, I'll talk about, because my topic is about the data collection. So briefly, I'll just talk about what are the characteristics. Now, conduct such inquiries where I want to be holistic. I want to be context. I want to conduct my inquiry in a context. I just want to have an understanding of multiple realities. I have to be flexible. I have to be holistic, in depth. It takes longer time than usual. And that could be the one reason why people don't conduct much of the qualitative inquiries. And there is an important point is the ongoing analysis. As you might have studied in your research process, that there is a linear sequence of the steps. First you do a data collection and then you do the analysis. But here in qualitative researches, what we do, we collect the data, we analyze it, we generate the need for new data, and then again, how do we repeat the process? So data analysis and collection will go hand by hand. Ongoing analysis. Researcher as an instrument. What do you mean by that? In qualitative researches, there is no as such instrument. Now, whether the person to whom you are interviewing, whether he is talking correct, or whether he is not lying, or whether the person is comfortable, you only work. You researcher will work as an interpreter of that. So there is no such instrument. You only decide. Oh, that person is not comfortable talking. He is hiding many things. Like simply, if you want to study and conduct an inquiry about the dowry system in our country, people will never come openly and they'll say about the dowry system. But when you conduct the qualitative research, you'll understand how people, oh, there's no dowry as such. We are giving gifts. So now the dowry is renamed as a gifts. Who are giving the gifts? Okay, like that. And there is something called data triangulation. That's another important point here. What is that? Triangulation is a mixing of the things. Because as whatever strategy we adopt in data collection or analysis, we have to adapt the multiple strategies. Sometimes I collect the data by having an interview, but in some cases interview may not work, so I'll go for observation method. Or sometimes I'll combine both observations and self-report methods. So data triangulation means mixing, adapting more than one strategy, more than one method of data collection. Okay, and emergent. Emergent means evolving over the period of time. What do you mean by this? As it is flexible, we are not sure about many of the things. You know, whenever you talk about qualitative inquiry, you always talk about your idea without having answer. Okay, I have an idea. I just want to study the social discourse of children engaged in child labor. Okay, or children engaged in child labor. Now, how much time it will take? No answer. How many subjects are required for this? Maybe 10 or 20 or 6. What methods of data collection you are going to adapt? Maybe the interview or observation, or maybe some record analysis. How we are going to do the analysis? Possibly I'll adapt an approach prescribed by Kolazi, or I'll do some other kind of analysis or thematic analysis. How you're going to do all that? How much money, how much budget is required for that? So many of the things are not being answered properly because we itself don't know. We don't know how much time. That's why we call it emergent, means evolving over a period of time. Your decisions usually are being taken when you are into the inquiry. That's why we call it a emergent design. Okay. So these are some of the important things. And if you want to plan a qualitative research, just please follow that. Determine the maximum time required to complete the project. Especially this is for students. Usually we discourage students to take qualitative inquiry during their masters or undergraduate programs. Why? Because it's a time consuming. If you're planning that I'll complete the qualitative research in 2 years, it may, you can do it, but you're not sure about this. Okay, therefore, we have to determine the maximum time, develop a broad data collection strategy. Whenever you talk about the data collection, data means information, how to gather the information. So, gathering the information, what strategies and techniques, tools you're going to use, you have to decide. And but you should have multiple options. Okay, I'll conduct the interview. If interview won't work, I'll go for observation. If observation won't work, I'll go for some other form of data collection. Okay. Then collect the relevant written and photographic materials. It's not every time the subject's interview or observations, whatever is available. It may be their ecosystem, it may be their home, it may be the photographic materials, written things or text, diaries, letters. Okay, so there are many things, intangible things, which will help you to collect the information. Collect, then select a broad framework or a tradition to guide the decision. Broad framework means you should always have a scope to adjust the new thing. Suppose you were very strict that data collection will be done only in 20 days. You cannot go with that. Or analysis will be done by adapting so and so qualitative software. It may not work for you. So have a broad framework to have that understanding. So these are some of the important things. So now what are the core activities that you need to do in qualitative data? Literature review. I hope that most of you are aware about it. What is literature review? But in qualitative research, literature review do not play much important role. Though we do literature review in the end of the researches, but it depends. Like for example, if you're doing a phenomenal research, phenomenological researches, there is no need to do any literature review in the beginning. Why? Because literature will make you biased. And in qualitative research, we should be, like a blank paper. We should not have any preconceptions or attitude about the subjects. So literature review is not being done in a beginning for phenomenal research, phenomenological research, whereas a bit ground literature is being done for ethnographic research. Okay, we also conduct a large scale literature in grounded theory researches, all that. So literature review is something that then you should also something is called bracketing. So what is a bracketing? Bracketing is just nothing, is writing your belief system before conducting inquiry. Understand this? If suppose I'm going to study the survivor of suicidal attempt, there will be so many things in my mind. Oh, the person has committed attempt suicide, might be having some reason for that. He might be having that kind of thought process. He might not be cooperating with me. So whatever thoughts and beliefs you have before meeting the patient, please note down all that. So that noting down your belief system before actually conducting the inquiry is known as a bracketing. Clear? So bracketing to be done. So no, the question is how far you can become neutral before conducting such inquiries. We are human being. We have an opinion for everything. Now you can see my hair spiked now. Yes. So you might have some belief about it. We always try to judge people. We have that process. Bracketing noting down. Whenever we see somebody, especially in qualitative researches, we try to be neutral as much as possible. And bracketing is a one technique that help us to do that. Then role of participant as an informant. What is the point? Here your participants are more than the participant. They're actively involved. They are the informant. They are providing you the information about the things. Now, at the end of the slides, I have kept two of my researches, qualitative researches link. It's available on a PubMed. So if you see that researches where clearly we're talking about how information was gathered from the participants. We call them a key informant, the person who is providing you the information. Okay. So that is also the one important point that we need to consider. Then selection of the participants, usually we go for the first hand participants. We are looking for primary information. Now, how you experience, how was your experience in this conference? I cannot ask your teacher about you. They may have some answer. They can tell me about your experience. But if I wanted to have a qualitative understanding of your experience related to this conference, I have to come to you personally, and it is you to tell me how was your experience. You cannot tell on the behalf of others. So primarily we go for it. First hand information is always looking for that. Then there is a one point which I want to narrate here, want to talk. The goal is not to generalize the findings. Now, this is going against the traditional definition of nursing research. One purpose of nursing research is to generalize the thing. But here we are talking about no, we are not going to generalize. This is the true. Qualitative researches are never intended to generalize. They don't want to make a universal principles. They just want to conclude a story based on certain information which they have received from the subjects. If suppose you had a very bad experience or you had a very good experience of being a participant of this conference, we are not going to generalize this to all other conferences. The students or the participants of other conferences might have a different experiences. Okay. Then setting for data collection. So it's a naturalistic setting. If I want to study the lived experiences of retired people, I have to go to their milieu. I need to go to their places. If I want to study the classroom culture of nursing students, I cannot call you in my office. No, I will come to you. So what we're talking about is the setting is a natural or something what we call it's a informant driven rather than the theory driven. So where is the informant? Where is the information? We go there. Okay. Then approaches are cyclic in nature. For analysis, already I've told you this. There is no linear sequences, cyclic. Okay, I have collected data from one subject. Okay, analysis was done. Moving to the second person, again I identify one or 2 points. I'll go back to the first person. It is a cyclic. Okay, and that is why I think most of the people avoid doing qualitative researches, because as in a beginning I said, there is no universal rules. You are meeting a one person, you are collecting information from one subject multiple times. How many times? We are not sure. Maybe one time. And how much time you spend with the subject? Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 2 days. I tell you, we have done one ethnographic research where we have collected data from 6 participants, only 6 participants, and it took around 3 months for us to do that. And it was more than 800 or I think 900 pages of the transcript were prepared from the students, from the 6 informants, sorry. So it takes time. And there is something called saturation. What is that? I think some of you are getting saturation there on the back side. Yeah. What is saturation? When you're done. Okay. Now lots of information is there in my mind. I don't want to consume more. Saturation is that. But here the meaning of saturation is different. There is no new information available to the subjects. Like you might have seen the police interrogation, right? They ask question to the criminals They keep on asking and they are giving answers. Now, there will be a moment when the person will have no new information. Then we'll say, yeah, this person is done. There's no new information, leave him. So that point is a saturation. In a qualitative researches, what we do, we collect the data until the person have a new information. And now the person has provided all the available information. So this is the point of saturation. Now this is the time for us to move to the next subject. Okay, so that is the saturation. So how many samples we decide, how many people will participate in qualitative inquiry depends on the saturation. Suppose we are studying the social discourse of subject engaged in child labor. I said we had data from 6 or 8 participants. Why 8? Why not 10? Or why not 4? Because we achieve the saturation at 6. Okay, so please understand that. Now, if I talk briefly about the data collection for qualitative research, qualitative data collection is aimed at exploring the human experiences, perception, meaning related to the health and illness. That's about nursing. And I think this already we have discussed. It is about more about understanding. Let me tell you an example. Uh, it is not about studying someone's culture or perception or behavior. It is about learning their culture. The student who has done this research, where ethnographic data were collected from the children engaged in child labor, we were not there to understand, we were there to learn. It is more about learning their things. So qualitative researches are very in depth, and that is the reason, when you are there and engaged with somebody so deeply, there are more chances of becoming biased. So biasness would be very high. So you have to be very careful when you conduct the qualitative inquiry. So by capturing the rich detailed information, qualitative information collection help the researcher to gain deeper insight into the phenomena, which already we have covered that. So of course, the purpose of any data collection in qualitative to understand. Already I've told you, it is more about learning. It is more about understanding, having a deeper meaning, okay, of the phenomena. What are the characteristics of qualitative data collection? So if you talk about, I have already discussed, they are in a naturalistic settings. So data you need to collect where your subjects are there. It's a what we say, a milieu of the participants. If you want to study the rickshaw pullers, you have to go to the rickshaw pullers home, their place of work. If you want to study patients, you should go where patient reside, at home or in the hospital, wherever they are. Then open-ended methods, usually there is no straight questionnaire for that. As already I've discussed, it is more qualitative. It's a qualitative. Researcher is being used as an instrument. So your job is what? Your job is to have the open-ended methods, in-depth interviews, participant observation, concealed observations. All these are the methods of data collection. Researcher is the key instrument. There is no machine. There is no tools and technique. It is you only have to decide the things. And data collected in words, not in numbers. So whenever we go for a qualitative research, we are not talking about the numerical information. We are talking more about the words, semantic analysis. Like for example, dowry. Now, do dowry exist in Indian culture? There's no words of dowry, but this dowry word is rephrased as a gifts. So gift is the word that symbolize the dowry. So words are more important in qualitative research than the quantity. So that's the important point. And of course, already I told you it's an ongoing and flexible approach. So there are different methods. So I'm not going in detail of that. But how do we collect qualitative information? As I said, it is an in-depth understanding of some phenomena. So in-depth interviews, that's the one way. Okay, you can have a long interviews. So at the end of these slides, you will have the link of some of the researches. Then you will see getting interview of one subject, and if the subject is having a rich information, how much time it will take, how many how much information is available to the person. So it takes a lot of time. So in-depth interview could be a one important choice. We conduct the in-depth interview when we are not sure what would be the answer, what will be my next question. Okay, just having that understanding. Then another important method of qualitative discussion is data is a focus group discussion. Okay, so let me share my own experience here. I have done my PhD on a topic of professionalism among nurse educators. So I wanted to understand what affects the professionalism among nurse educators. So I adopted this technique, focus group discussion. What I did, I invited the educators from various colleges with a different educational or experiential background, and I made a team of 7 to 8 people with one moderator, and then I asked certain questions to them, and everybody was giving their opinion, and from there we started giving a discussion. So it is an impersonal way of conducting an inquiry and reaching on a consensus what the group is saying. So that we call a focus group discussion technique. It's a very, very important technique in a qualitative researches. Of course, there are so many pros and cons of that, because whenever you conduct a focus group, you need to have a strong moderator. You need to have a person who can note down the transcript, what the participants are saying and talking. You have to narrate everything, you should note down. You need to learn how to manage the dissenters. Everybody will not have the same opinion, right? If somebody is saying that privatization is good for nursing, it is helping my professionalism in a positive manner, but another person in the team will say, no, 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 privatization is something which bring nursing at the market fundamentals. Now we are more thinking about money rather than the quality. So now in the same group, two people are talking at different things, and that is the beauty of qualitative researches. This is what we call it dissenters, the people with a different opinion. So this is how we are going to do that. Then we have observation methods. It's one of the best method that we may use for qualitative research. In my own research, where we were intended to study the social cultural discourse of children engaged in child labor, we made observations. Okay, now observation are of different types: participant, non-participant, concealed, non-concealed. But observation is a very good technique. You can have quality observations, you can have a structured observation, but in qualitative researches usually we go for a unstructured observation. You don't decide what to observe, where to observe, how long to observe, who will observe, how will you make a recording and all that, but you go and observe, you make a note of that and try to interpret. And again, I say here, these are the methods. You adapt, collect your information, analyze it, and then go back to the subjects again. Okay, then field notes, so related to that only, it's one of the methods where you collect the information when you are in a field. Like for example, I want to evaluate how far you are satisfied with this conference qualitatively. If I ask you a question on a 10 point, everybody will say yes, it was wonderful, wonderful. But if I conduct a quality inquiry, I need to check your facial expression, I need to check your body language, I need to ask certain questions, or if something comes to me, I need to make a note of that. Something we call a technique jotting. Okay, so jotting is what? It is a process where we make a small notes whenever we are in the field of observation. Whenever I feel okay, this is important thing, I'll just make a small note of that. Okay, so that's the one important technique what we can use here. And of course, documents and records are always remain a good source, especially when you are collecting the information related to the past. Every time it may not be possible that subject would be available, though the primary purpose of qualitative research is always to have a first hand information. Okay, so it has its own whenever you collect the records or information from records, always evaluate these records for authenticity, for reliability, trustworthiness. Okay, Okay, so this I can just I'm skipping this focus. Some of the informations are given there. So already I have discussed all that. Yeah, these are some of the things, like as I said, diaries and letters, case records, reports, all existing records can help you to understand that. Okay. uh, I don't want to go in a technical thing, but there are two things. Please remember, whenever you collect the information from records, always have an internal or external criticism. Evaluate Evaluating someone's authenticity, whether the information is correct, that we call a external validity. Like for example, if I'm saying that Florence Nightingale stated that nursing was in its a bad shape in her era, whether she was saying correct or not, that is a external criticism. It's like a forensic investigation. I have to ensure that the whether the letter is written by Florence Nightingale only, it is her own handwriting. So I can just check the quality, age of the age of the paper. I can match the handwriting of the person who's claimed that they have written it. So external criticism is more like doing a forensic investigation of the paper. Once it is established that okay, this paper is written by so and so. I can give best example of your classroom attendance. If I want to uh, evaluate that record as the attendance of your regularity in the classes, what I need to do first, whether this register belong to this university, whether this register is maintained by the so and so class teacher who she was, and suppose I'm talking about whether this is the pattern that this university adopt for attendance. If I'm getting answer of all these, yes, this is an authentic paper. Second point is internal criticism. What is that? Here I determine whether the information is reliable or not. Maybe the teacher might give a false attendance. Every student, those who are absent, were given a present. So that is a reliability. Once external criticism is done, then go for the internal criticism. So when you talk about the qualitative research, of course, as it is a research inquiry, so we should always consider these ethical concern. Confidentiality and privacy is very, very important thing. In my own research, where I was studying the professionalism among nurse educators, privacy was a big issue. Confidentiality was, because I was trying to explore from nurse educators about their organization. I was asking them indirectly how this organization affect your professionalism positively or negatively. And suppose somebody want to say that my principal is not very professional. Okay, what about the confidentiality? What about that organization name? Okay, so very, very important to maintain that. So always try to have an ethical approval. That is the first step in that. Right to withdraw at any time, that already is a common for all the researchers. Respect for the participants, whatever information you are coming, whatever decision they make about their participation and all. So we should always maintain the fairness. If suppose somebody initially said, okay, I'll participate, but later they denied, what will you do? Fulfill all the promises which you made to them. Okay. Then informed consent. Okay. So that is also very, very important part of this. Now I'll talk briefly about the analysis part. So qualitative data collection is more or less a flexible approach where you collect the data by having a various methods which we have discussed here. But one thing, it's not a linear. It is something where we spend more and more time in the milieu of the participants, and it's more than understanding. It is learning the culture. It is learning their behavior. Okay. Now, if I talk about the analysis part, so as same like quality inquiry, which we already discussed, loosely structured narrative materials, usually verbatim, as I said, there is no numerical information. There is a narrative information. Okay. So whatever was stated, the spoken words become very, very important for me if I collect the qualitative researches. So what are the challenges we experience in analysis part? So first is there is no universal rules for analysis of qualitative data. Okay, there is no universal rule. Though we have so many different analysis strategies. If you're like, for example, if you are doing a phenomenal research, there are 3 4 different approaches we adopt. We do thematic analysis. If you are doing a ethnographic research, then there is again various approaches are available there. Okay, if you are conducting a kind of a theory development researches, there are techniques, but more or less they are flexible in nature, they are emergent. Okay, sometimes you make decision based on the need. Then there is a lot of work is required. As I said, we have collected the information from 6 participants over a period of 3 months and more than 800 pages. So it's a quite a lot of work. Okay, because you have to read everything. It is not about the analysis that we do put data in SPSS and finally we got some mean median. No, it won't work in that way. You have to read, you have to identify constantly, you have to compare the things, and then you do that. Then another important challenge is reducing the data information. As I said, we got the 900 pages information from the 6 participants. Now that 900 pages need to be summarized in a report of what? It's 5,000 words. Or if you're writing a thesis, just only a few pages. And it's become very very difficult sometimes. So when you do a constant comparison, you try to identify similarity and differences, you draw a different dendrograms. Okay, you analyze things, you identify how things are similar, you club them, categorize, subcategorize, and finally reach at this level. So these are 3 major challenges. Now let me talk briefly about the steps. So I'll take one example also here. First step is a transcribing the information. What is that? Let me take this. This is an example. Can you see this? This is my own research, a case study on communication practices of nurses. First step in qualitative analysis is to prepare a transcript. You can have an individual transcripts of all the subjects. Okay, so as you can see, the nurses are asking the questions, what is your name, patient is giving name, then nurses, then patient. And how do you do that? Initial transcription to be done in their local language. If suppose the information was collected in Hindi or in your local language, it should be in a local language only, and then you can translate, you can make a transcript of that. So first step is that. So a clean verbatim transcript is lightly edited version of the original data, typically the following elements. Okay, you should uh, there are some changes that you can do whenever you make a transcript. Now we got an interview transcript having around 100 pages. We cannot make a transcript of 100 pages, so some deliberate alteration can be done. Some of the information you can skip. Important things, what we call it, something called a SS, significant statement, that you can identify always. Okay, do that. Now once you make an individual transcript is nothing, a clearly refined version of your interview or the information. Then develop a category schemes. So it is more like reducing the data. Now you should identify the different categories. Okay, I'll just give an example here. So there are different category systems are there. I suggest template analysis or template system. What is that? You have a predetermined categories. Like in my case, I have categorized the factors of professionalism under 3 categories: macro factor, micro factor, and meso factors. Then each factor has a 3 different subcategories. So I went with that template. If somebody is saying, yeah, I'm a person who's not very comfortable of using PPTs, or I'm not doing much researches because I did my master's long back and I'm not very, familiar with all these new techniques. Now, this is the one thing the person is talking about. In what category it will go, whether it's a individual factor, or it is an organizational factor, or it is a external factors, whether the regulatory agencies or universities or Indian Nursing Council have put some restrictions on the person, or it is an individual factor. So it's an individual factor. Now, in individual factor, what kind of factor it is? Whether it is a physical limitation of a person, psychological limitations, or cognitive limitations. So, this is how we need to make a transcript. So, once you identify the transcript, then second is you just develop a category. Now, this is I think maybe visible to you, and I've shared these PPTs. As you can see, participant ID 3.1 means in a third interview, participant number 1. What it says, research is a recent trend. It was not when I did PG, and we are old generation told by a Kerala based community professor. This is how I have written. What we call that significant statement. No, what is the key factor here? What are the key factors? One is the age. The person is saying that we are old generation. Second is knowledge and skills. Now, what is the category? Individual nurse educator factors. If you read the second or third one, see, lack of appraisal in is a strong demotivating factor. Somebody is saying that we don't get appraisal in our organization. So what is this factor? Organizational factor. I have given a category that is a 1B. Okay. Here I am paid very low salary set by a clinical instructor. Again, organizational factor. Now just go for this 1.2. Privatization of nursing education affected quality of teaching negatively. Now privatization, who did the privatization? Me? No. Organization? No. Who did it? Government, policy makers. So this is beyond my control. So what is the category? External, professional, occupational factors. So this is an example. How do we make a categories? Now, but please remember, the categories are not absolute. We make initial categories, we remerge, again we try to make a new categories. Okay. Now, one side somebody is saying, now see, privatization is a given a factor 1C. What is the last one? You need to be more accountable being a private employee. Privatization increase your accountability. So once you become more accountable, you become a better teacher. Your professionalism will be at a high level. Now, where you are more accountable? You're more accountable in private organizations. So privatization not only affecting it negatively, but also affecting it positively. So same category, but the code is given 1CD. That's why in the beginning I said, there is no linear connections. For one particular key factor, privatization, we have a positive and negatives. And that is the beauty of qualitative data analysis. Okay. So please understand that. So second step is developing a category scheme. There are different types of categories. We have a concrete categories, we have abstract categories. Now, what is the concrete categories? The categories which I observed. Like for example, somebody is saying in the same example, the previous example of dowry, if I'll continue. What is a concrete? I can see that the boy side are getting most of the gifts and the bride sides are giving more of the gifts. But there is no dowry. They're giving gifts. So gifts is a concrete category. No, yaar, they are not gifts. They are basically a form of a dowry. They are not talking about this word. That is an abstract. When you see very closely and monitor these concrete categories, there will be the overall understanding. So that is what we call a abstract categories. Something that is not written, that is not visible, but that is the outcome of your concrete categories. Okay. So that is ultimate aim for that. Used to develop the theories, researchers break down the data into smaller segments for similarity and differences and determine the meaning of those phenomena in the abstractions. So we reach on abstraction in that way. Okay. Now, so ask following basic questions whenever you develop a categories. What is this? What is going on? What does it stand for? What else is like this? What is this different from? I'll give you my own example. In one of our research, where we were observing one child. The child was going school in a first half, then going to a dana mandi for some labor, and There she used to work 3 4 hours, getting some money, and every day managing a balance between schooling and the work. Whereas we move to the second person, second child, he was doing more work to avoid the schooling. Now we cannot say that the overall 8 participants were there. Out of that, only the one girl was going to school, but 7 were dropouts. So one important point factor came that most of the children engaged in child labor are the school dropouts. Okay, but this is not a universal one. One child is maintaining that, and other children are not being forced. Some of them are identified that they love what they're doing. In my research, like normally, what we say, child labor is not good. Children are being forced to do child labor. But when we interviewed them, na, we were shocked to see the results. They were more confident. Okay, they loved to work. Even the parents were against. Parents wanted them to go to school. They don't want to go to school. Many of them were like that because of that one theme that identified family shoulder. They want to shoulder their family. So that kind of results we identified. One more thing we identified there was a social deprivation. They were not playing with their age mates. They were not going to school. Okay, they were not going to in any social function. They were politically insensitive, socially insensitive. They were into themselves. So we identify a theme that's socially insensitive. But at the same time, we identified they were spending their leisure time while watching the mobile phones. What they're scrolling down, reels. They were engaged in social through digitalization. So they were not socially deprived, but they have changed a method of socialization. So qualitative researches are done in that way where you identify such things. Okay, so you develop what is this? Oh, this child is free now. He has a time to play with the age mate, but he's not doing it. What is going on? He's just scrolling the mobile phone. What exactly he's doing? He's just watching some of the reels. What does it stand for? He's kind of an entertainment. But what he's doing? Is he watching some geographical things or it's some educational content? No, no, no. He's just watching the jogs or some other things. So please answer all these questions whenever you go for. Okay. Quantitative research start here only. If you can answer these things. Now, what does it stand for? What else is like this? And how it is different? I have seen that student, I have seen that previous participant, he was also scrolling the mobile phone, but he was learning a new skill. But this child is just having the content which are more like jokes and all. Okay, just see that. So this is third step, coding. So once you categorize, transcript is done, categorization is done, initial category is being done. Now it is a coding data. So though coding also go, in line. Once you identify a category, you give a code. As you can see here, participant ID, significant statement. As you can see, privatization of nursing education affect the quality of teaching negatively. Key factor is a privatization. Negative factor, I have given a category code 1CA. No, I don't want to go in detail of that because I have some coding. So always maintain a coding diary. If you want to see this research in detail, it is available on a PubMed. Okay, you can see there how we have coded the things. Then 4.1, again, privatization has affected positively. We have given a category code 1CB. Okay, so coding is also very, very important here. Now, once the category scheme has been developed, the data is read in its entirety and code for the correspondence. Okay, so let's do that. It may take a second and third time. It is not, sometimes, it's not about once you coded it 1CA or 1CB, you keep on changing it. Okay, like initially we said, okay, this child is socially deprived, but later, so we put one category. Later we identified, no, no, it's not socially deprived. He changed his socialization process, method. Now he become more digital. He's connecting, he's watching the reels, but in a different way. Okay. So this is how we just do the category. So check the initial categories for completeness. Narrative material usually are not linear. The example which already I have given, there is no linearity in that. For one topic, for a one point, there could be different things. If suppose there is a violation of a rules for done by one student in a college, he was punished by a teacher, but the another student with the same offense was punished differently. So that's we come from the qualitative research. Yeah, we always recommend the single person to code the entire data because otherwise perceptual meaning will change. Every person, and I suggest the principal investigator, primary person who is responsible for data collection should do this coding part. Then you can, the step 4 is the organization. So there are two methods of organizing data, manual methods, and you can go for the computer methods. So both can be used. So when I was doing my qualitative research, these computer assisted methods were not very familiar, but these are some of the software I have listed here. Some of them are freely available, so you can go and see that. So what exactly this software does, once you put your narrative material, they try to identify the keywords. They can help you to identify the keywords. They will help you to abstract your significant statement. Like for example, like now we are using chat gpt and openai and other things. So if you put one data there, one narrations, one paragraph, and you ask that just tell me this important point, just highlight the important words, something similar to that. Concept mapping is being done, variables can be identified. So all these things are possible with this computer assisted qualitative data analysis software. But I prefer manual methods because with the problem with the computer assisted method is that it helps you to identify the concrete categories. It will tell you gifts in a marriage. It will never help you to identify the pattern of dowry. If you really want to understand the abstract phenomena, then definitely you have to go for the manual method. So you can have the balance for that. And then clustering the categories. That's the one important point here. So I have taken this example of a dendrogram here. This is the one technique that we adopt in qualitative research. I'm talking in common to all narrative data. As you can see that different themes, sub themes were identified like exercise and reinforcement and lifestyle, diet, motivation, health. Then we try to connect. Though we know they are not linearly arranged, but we try to arrange that in that way. And from there we identify the master themes and central theme. What is central theme? Central theme is the one where most of the themes are connected with that. Okay. So this is how we do that. Okay. Now, I think some of you start getting bored. Huh? Yes? Yes? Arre. No, there's no linear. Some of them are saying yes. Some of them are saying no, but they are bored. So when I ask, are you bored? Someone said no. So qualitative research only will tell me that. You are saying no, but your body language is saying you are bored. Right? Okay, just give me 5 more minutes to complete this. Okay. Now, there is an important point. Once you do that analysis part of qualitative researches, validity become very, very important. So there are different, why this is important? Because number one, you are very subjective in qualitative researches, right? Because you are intensively involved in the process. There are so many movies where a person entered to a culture or a society where he want to identify a community engaged in a illegal work, and that hero become a very close to that community, and now he identified though they are doing a illegal work, but they are doing for the welfare of society. Now finally he also become a part of that. So that chances are always higher when you do a qualitative inquiry, because you have to be very close to the subjects. That's why there are more chances of becoming biased. So validity shows the soundness of the research methods that you adopted and what the results you have. So there are four basic points I'm going to discuss here. One is the credibility, okay, that you need to check for qualitative data, whether the research findings represent the credible information. Suppose I'm saying now the children engage in child labor because they wanted to do this work. Now how I will justify this argument? Okay, so credibility to be seen. How you see the credibility? You can just go refer to the transcripts. You can see the actual verbatim maintained by the researcher. Okay, so credibility become a very, very important part. So original data, keep the original data. So if someone want to see that whether the person is doing interpretation in a proper manner, then transferability, that's another. Though it is not a scope or choice for qualitative inquiries, transferability, but ultimate aim of any research is to generalize the things. Okay, can we transfer these results? The study conducted in Punjab, where we identify that the children's engaged in child labor having these many characteristics, can we apply the same on somebody or the children working in a Chennai or somewhere else? So that's what we call a transferability, or what we call external validity. It is the ability to generalize the extent to which the results of a research apply to other context. As I said, qualitative researchers never intend to generalize the things, but still, if you do some of the things, what you do there, how you enhance the transferability? By maintaining certain standards, by keeping your transcript ready, making your data available, comparing, involving multiple people, analysis, what we call a analysis triangulation. If suppose you have done the analysis, your interpretation may be subjective. Let some other people to do this along with you. Make a consensus on that. Okay, so with that, how you can enhance the transferability. Then comes the dependability, that is the reliability of the information. Again, you are intensively involved. Subjectivity leads to kind of a biasness. So dependability is a stability of the findings over time. Now I'm saying the children want to engage in child labor because they wanted to do it. Nobody is forcing them to do that. Now, reliability. Am I getting the similar results if I conduct the same inquiry again? Or is there a change in the opinion? Okay. So this is how we just see participant evaluation of the findings and its interpretation. So how we ensure the reliability? There are many, most of the qualitative research analysis approach involve going back to the subject and seeking validation for the inquiry. Okay, this is the data what we have collected from you has resulted into these many themes or these many things we identified. No, they will read, or you can just talk to them and you can get the validity of that. And the last point is a confirmability, that is a objectivity. Okay, there is a two things, subjectivity and objectivity. Qualitative researches are more subjective in nature. What is desirable in research, subjectivity or objectivity? What is our choice, subjectivity or objectivity or both? We have three choices. Subjectivity, how many says yes? Yes, please. I'm going to have one more session after this, not on research, but for your mindset. Okay. We desire objectivity for quantitative researches. We require subjectivity for qualitative researches. What is undesirable is biasness. Sometimes students get confused that subjectivity is not desirable. Subjectivity is a wisdom. I have taken a decision purposefully. I wanted to do this. That is subjectivity. I have taken so and so person as a participant in the research. I am doing this analysis in that way. I am adding these lines. Subjectivity. So subjectivity only develop when you become very close to your subjects, when you know the phenomena, richness of the phenomena. Okay. So in a confirmability, we maintain the objectivity. So confirmability is a concern where we try to establish that the findings are not merely the biasness. It is not merely the understanding and perception, bias perception of the researcher. So again, the same thing. You maintain a transcript, involve multiple people, do triangulation, follow the saturation principle, having a good, research data collection methods, analysis to be done in a different way, in a very intensive manner. With all that, you can improve the credibility, transferability, dependability, and confirmability. These are the same words. As you can see, we call reliability in quantity. Here the name is dependability. Okay, there we say validity. Here we talk about the transferability. So like that, we can always do. So to enhance the credibility, do triangulation, member checks, involve multiple people in that, saturation principle you need to follow, okay, and reflectivity and peer review, okay. Just always ask other people to check the transcript, do the interpretation, read or validate your interpretation, okay. So like that already I have given. Transferability, make a thick description of everything, okay. Whatever information you collected, you need to have a thick information of that, okay, detailed information I mean to say. Audit trials, triangulation, and all that you can do. These are some of my researches related to qualitative researches. You can just click on this link and you can see the one ethnography research and one, I guess, phenomenological researches are available. You can just read from that. So the overall purpose of this presentation was to make you sensitive about qualitative researches, and you can conduct the qualitative researches, uh, at very small scale. Okay, do I have 5 minutes?
Okay, sir.
No, no, if it is there, if time permits.
I'm already
Already, okay.
ready.
So the last poem for you. मिल ना पाए बात अलग है, पर सपनों का, हिंदी इज कंफर्टेबल ना, पर सपनों का साथ अलग है, तपन तो मन में भर सकते हो, नहीं हो सूरज बात अलग है, खुद में धूप समाना सीखें, ऊंचे लक्ष्य बनाना सीखें, लक्ष्य नदी का घाट घाट को छूकर जाना थोड़ी है, छोटी मोटी लहरें लेकर नाव बहाना थोड़ी है, उसको तो सागर बनना है, उसको तो बादल बनना है, वही ढंग अपनाना सीखें, ऊंचे लक्ष्य बनाना सीखें, पांव तुम्हारे बिना थके ही लक्ष्य तुम्हारा पा जाते हैं, होता ना ऐसा? अरे यार ये तो नहीं होगा, हाँ हो गया डन। पांव तुम्हारे बिना थके ही लक्ष्य तुम्हारा पा जाते हैं, आंखें जिन्हें देख सकती हैं बाण भेद कर आ जाते हैं, उनको लक्ष्य नहीं कहते हैं, वह इतने सरल नहीं होते हैं, गोल्स आर नॉट इजी, राइट? वही ऊंचे, उनको लक्ष्य नहीं कहते हैं, वह इतने सरल नहीं रहते हैं, मन को और उड़ाना सीखे, ऊंचे लक्ष्य बनाना सीखे. If I narrate this entire poem, goals are something that stretch you little bit more. गोल्स वो हैं जो आपको थोड़ा स्ट्रेच करते हैं, आपके कंफर्ट से बाहर निकाल के लाते हैं. बहुत स्कोप है हमारे पास, एंड इट्स वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट दैट इंडियन रिसर्च पिछले काफी सालों से हम काफी पीछे हैं, बट अभी हम लोग इस पे बहुत आगे आ रहे हैं. सो आई एक्सपेक्ट दैट some of you will adopt this qualitative researches and will be sharing their papers, or after few years some of you will be standing here and just narrating the same stories. So thank you so much.
Wonderful session, Dr. Bharat Parikh. We are very thankful to you. And the final words, Unche Laksh Banana Siko. Really, it was wonderful to talk with you. Melko or Udana Siko, Unche Laksh Banana Siko. Yes, definitely, I hope the of DRIEMS University have enjoyed and they have enriched their knowledge on your topic on thematic analysis and the qualitative data collection from transcription to interpretation. Let me have a few points. Actually, I was completely understanding your session. It was very well narrated, very well described, and you have very clearly explained about qualitative data, which is crucial for understanding why and how behind human behavior, experiences, and beliefs, offering rich and in-depth insights that numbers alone cannot capture. So we are very glad that you have given a very brief understanding and an in-depth knowledge on contextualization and fostering innovation. There are a few more clarifications that on the part of the session I would like to get from your knowledge, like how do you manage subjectivity and bias, potential bias that arise from the researcher's personal beliefs and values when you go about in qualitative data collection. Can you please explain about that?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your appreciation. So, first of all, we need to understand what madam is asking. Ma'am is asking how we can manage the subjectivity, because qualitative research involve your intensive nuances of becoming biased, which I told you. So how you can prevent that? So some of the important things. First point, have a complete transcription. Try to write each and everything. So when you involve other people in your data collection and analysis part, they can validate your interpretation. So the point is investigator triangulation. Second point is a data triangulation. Adapt a multiple strategies to collect the same information. So you, like for example, subjectivity. If you are interviewing somebody, oh, the person is saying, I'm happy being a child labor, but let me observe, his employer is not behaving properly with him, having a problem, everybody is using abusive language to him. This is my observation. So I have to link my observation with what interview the person is saying, identifying discrepancies. And the last very important point is bracketing. In a very beginning I said, though we are a human being, but bracketing is very, very important technique that we can adapt. Whatever preconceptions you have, belief system you have about the inquiry you are going to conduct, please note down your belief system on a blank paper. And once you do the analysis, just check your bracketing, check your belief system. So having that kind of involvement and adapting such as standard things will make you more subjective. And again, I say here, it is all about finding the facts without being biased. So if you adopt a sound research method, if you adopt these techniques, you can be more objective, or I say you'll be more authentic in that. So thank you, ma'am.
Let me also ask you, there's something called reflexity in qualitative data analysis. Like, can you explain the audience, like how reflexity helps on collecting the qualitative data?
Yeah. So, whenever you go for analysis of qualitative data, reflectivity is a more desirable thing. Whatever analysis or data collection we are doing, then we have to check it. We have to check it authenticity. We have to relate this with the conceptions and the belief system what I had, and then try to involve other people and just validate the findings. And with doing all these small scales, making a small transcripts, identifying a significant statement, reading it, constantly comparing things, putting the categories into similarity and differences, identifying descenders, all these, some of the jotting, uh, noting the non-verbal behavior along with the verbal behavior, identifying the abstraction, unspoken things. Something was not spoken there, something was not done, but that represents something. So, with doing all these things, you can make your research findings more validate, and it will be more objective. So, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, I think you have very clearly explained the role of reflexity or the ongoing self awareness and the critical reflection on their role and influences. I session was very well steered, and you have given a very brief understanding your experiences you have shared, and I hope each and every audience have got benefited. It's my real pleasure and honor to be a part of this international conference, to be a part of your session, Dr. Bhatt. And my sincere thanks to the organizing committee of the DRIEMS University. My most humble thanks to the Dean of the School of Nursing, DRIEMS University, to the organizing chairperson, the organizing secretary, Dr. Satish Mani, and to the entire team. I hope it was a wonderful session. Thank you once again. Over to you, Dr. Satish Rajamani.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, one question
Thank you.
only we got
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Zoom chat, sir.
Mhm.
Somebody is asking about when we collect data in qualitative, whether we need to set the questions priorly and collect the data, or the questions will be emerge when we collect the data.
So can anybody answer from the group this? The question is, whenever we collect qualitative information, do we need to have predetermined questions or we need to just identify the need of an R and then the questions will be emergent? What is the answer?
Depends.
Can we have the predetermined things for qualitative research?
Depends on the nature and the availability of the data
Some of the, yeah,
and
please
depth.
give mic to madam. It's there.
Morning. Very good morning, everyone. Can you all hear? Okay,
Yes,
so
we can
actually
hear.
for the qualitative study, we have to have a semi-structured questions which we'll be carrying out to the area, and we will be doing a like a pilot study or we'll be administering the question. We have to see that whether the questions are suitable, whether they are answering or according to the scenario, according to this, whether the question should be modified, that has to be done. Once we feel that it is not okay, restructure the question, do it again, and if it is not suitable, again restructure the question. Still, we do a data saturation. They should be modified according to that. Is it right, sir?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think ma'am has answered so well. I would like to add one more point here. Qualitative research is not always.
I don't think so. You need to always.
Sorry, ma'am. Yes, please.
I don't think so. You need to have pre-structured questions always.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is it depends because qualitative inquiry is beyond only making the questions. Sometimes we make like see basic understanding.
Observations.
Yeah. So if
There are observations.
yes, suppose I know what to ask and also know what they will respond. That is a very structured. I know what to ask, like what is normal blood pressure? This is a question. What is the answer? I know what you can answer. I'll make a four options. That is a structured. What is semi-structured? I know what to ask, but I don't know what they will respond. Participant, what madam said. So I like, for example, in my focus group discussion which I conducted, I know what to ask. So I framed 7 or 8 questions in focus group discussion, but the response were not known to me. So I made it open-ended questions. Okay, then what is third category? I don't know what to ask and I don't know what they will reply. Like in my ethnographic research, where I don't know what question to ask. So I made observation. I was simply going, spending time with them. So it depends what kind of research you are doing. But of course, it is beyond that. We make observations, we make use of records, diaries, or many other things. But it goes in that way. Thank you. I hope we have answered this.
Yes, sir. Sir, my personal question, sir. So you told that for qualitative studies, some studies have taken 3 years to complete the data collection. So what will be the duration of pilot study in qualitative research?
So there's a two part of this question. Number one, there is no pilot study word we use for qualitative research. What we call a windshield survey.
Yes.
Okay, so if some of you are aware about this, something called a windshield survey. What is that? We try to identify the culture or things we are going to study. Like, for example, I want to study the experience of people after retirement. So, first of all, I need to identify, okay, where they are located, how is their routine. Then I go and connect with them. And finally, I structure the things. What is their usual time, routine, and all. So, that windshield survey we do. And qualitative researchers don't require any pilot study actually. You can have a small level of understanding by like for example, okay, December month they will not be available at 9 to 5, they will not be available, so like that we can have an understanding and generate your feasibility. That is more about that. So in my opinion, in my all my qualitative research, I never did a pilot study.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Workload is
It is only
reduced.
the understanding survey which is done before that.
Yes, yes, it is understanding, and it's moreover like because you are trying to understand the phenomena for that little
Yeah,
is
but free survey of understanding is been done. not as such the pilot study.
Yes. Is there anything
Because
else?
nothing
Yes,
is
sir.
structured. As for a qualitative, I think nothing is structured. So everything should go it in a very hypothetical and assumption way, so that you can get a more data, reachful data. If you wanted, you should not have so much predetermined ideas when you are doing qualitative studies.
Yes, ma'am. Correct. Is there anything else? So thank you so much for all the, I think, online audience are also available. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and presenting, just showing my, just presenting myself and my experience with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I am requesting our Dean Madam, Professor Dr. Pratima Prakasham Ma'am, to felicitate Dr. Bharat Parikh sir. Volunteer, please.
Sir, 11, second of after lunch.
Sati sir. Sati sir. Sati sir, next session speaker ଅଛନ୍ତି online ରେ.
Chandan sir. Yeah, yes.
Now moving forward towards the next session. The topic for the session is Next Generation Tool for Data Harvesting, a timely subject in an era of digital research and advanced analytics. Our expert of this session is Dr. Chandrakala Shankar Pandian, Assistant Professor, Princess Noura bint Abdul Rahman University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The session will be moderated by Dr. Chandan Pradhan, Associate Professor, MSN Department, KIT deemed University, having 13 years of academic experience and 2 years of clinical experience, active member of TNAI, Society of Indian Neuroscience Nurses, Society of Midwives of India, honored with multiple national and international awards for excellence in nursing education and outstanding paper and poster presentation, actively involved in conference organization, academic evaluation, paper setting and roles across reputed universities and institutions. Requesting sir, please come forward and moderate the session. And requesting students, please maintain silence and discipline. And please close the door if you are going out. Please close the door.
Yeah. Am I audible? Can I start the session?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, before starting introduction by our moderator, sir, requesting Chandan, sir, please come forward to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Chandrakala Shankar Pandian, ma'am. She is assistant professor, Princess Noor bin Abdul Rahman University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Over to you, sir.
Jai Jagannath. First of all, it is my proud privilege that have been given an opportunity by the organizing committee and respected Dean Ma'am of DRIEMS College of Nursing. And it is a very good ambience. I can see that the students are enjoying the literary fest here. There was a very good session taken by Bharat sir also. And I'm sure the next session also, which will be very, very enthused. The speaker is of par excellence, and she is Dr. Chandrakala ma'am, Assistant Professor of Nursing in Princess Noorah bin uh, Al Burhan University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So she brings about 25 years of experience in the field of nursing and holding a pinnacle position in the academia of healthcare and administration in Saudi Arabia. Her experience and spans across nursing education, leadership, management, critical care nursing, and she is also a PhD nursing completed from the at Rani Mai College of Nursing, Annamalai University in 2015. So she is a very well learned person, and she is also a gold medalist for her MSc nursing in the Sacred Heart Nursing College in 1999, as well as she is a life member in the train TNAI. So we are very much eagerly and patiently waiting for listening to a very learned personal like you, ma'am. Thank you for spending time and your experiences with us. Thank you. And may you start the session now. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to everyone. And anyway, thank you, Dr. Chandan Pradhan, for your wonderful uh, introduction about me. And anyway, I'm privileged to be here as a part of this international conferences. First of all, my sincere thanks to Dr. Pratima Pragasa, Dean, Dean School of Nursing, Dreams College of Nursing, and even Professor Associate Dean, Dr. Premlada Devi, and my dear students, Sadish Rajamani, who is the organizing secretary for this international conferences. I think today I am privileged. Am I audible? Am I audible to the group?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Today, I think I'm privileged and enjoy the joy and honor of this conference because I could see many of my students, Dr. Edna Sweeney, Dr. Ratish Kumar as a moderator. And of course, I feel home because when you go out of India only, you will realize how sensitivity when you see your own people. So I feel hope today because I'm going to take lecture for my own group of people. Okay, so moving on to this conference, let me share this in front my screen. I think I'm blocked. Sharing is not turned on. Then it, yeah. Otherwise, you can share my slides.
Okay, ma'am, we will share it.
Okay, that's nice.
ये सब वो slide हम share सकते हैं मैडम आपको परमिशन दिया वो slide
That's correct. Anyway, they're welcome to the international conference today. And my topic, which is given today for this conference, is next generation tool for harvestation, mainly the harvesting. So here, the next generation, because I must say thank you to my previous speaker, Dr. Bharat Parekh, it from Eternal University, because he made my presentation as a little more easy one, because already he has discussed about the how the data to be collected in the qualitative data. So my study, so we are moving into a next generation tools, and as we all know, can I go back to the first slide? Yeah. So this is a one here. Actually, we are living in a digital era. So the next generation of data harvesting tool is primarily characterized by the integration of artificial intelligence and incorporation of automation and real-time processing, which can help you to collect the data in a diverse, that is a mixed group, and even a large scale data set can be collected. We'll call it as a big data in the current era. So as I mentioned, this code says the age of data. The tool is as important as the insight of the researcher. So for that reason, people may think the AI will replace the teacher. Definitely no. But the teacher who is using, of course, but the teacher using AI will be replaced those who don't. So you must learn to leverage with the mainly the recent trends, the artificial intelligence, another one. And of course, when we studied nursing program, we never studied about the nursing informatics. So by considering the recent trend, now again the nursing informatics subject has been added as one of the subject in our nursing curriculum to make our nurses to be more techno friendly. So that is the reason. So as the trends are changing, we have to update ourselves. Same thing is applicable for the research also, because now the entire world is focusing on hard work than the smart work. So of course, your artificial use of your new generation tool and incorporating the technology in your working area will make your work little more smarter and easy. So for that reason, of course, the nurses and even the researcher must know how to update or how to use the recent generation tool when they are doing a research. So here, when you come for this tool, as I said earlier, now our focus is on more on big data and large volume of data. So in that case, many colleges have started using a research repository. So when you use the word research repository, in other term, we'll call that as a research library. So it is a centralized digital system used to store and organize or even share the research data, notes, and findings within their institution, if permitted, even they are willing to share with other group. And the main goal of this research repository is making the research discoverable and reusable instead of lying in the library as a book or unused. So this is a common repository where you can get lot of informations with our research study. Can I have a next slide, please? So, of course, the objectives of today lecture for this 1 hour is I can give you the declaration that at the end of this lecture, at least you could be able to gain some knowledge related to this next generation research data tool. So we'll have an introduction, traditional versus modern data collection method, and how this effective data collection strategies can be used, and how the effective data can be collected, and how we can use the real world data sources in the advanced research clinical tool. At the same time, challenges in artificial intelligence based medical devices. Can I have a next slide, please? So, of course, as I said earlier, when you use this traditional method and artificial or even Internet of Things data systems, data collections, of course, as I said earlier, being the beginning, budding researcher, you must know the essence of research and how it should be done. And that is the one. So there is no excuse in that. You must have the basic knowledge, of course, the research process and the steps in clearly manner. With that basic knowledge, you could able to move into a use of advanced technology. So that's the one. So when you compare the traditional versus the recent data collection 2026 data tool, the primary sources, when you look into the feature, the primary sources are, and traditional data collection, usually you will have a manual entry that we'll call it as a master sheet. So as Dr. Bharat Barik said, if it is a qualitative data, your sample size will be within 10 to 15, where you can do a manual entry of your phenomenological approach and verbatim and coding, everything can be done. And majority time when that student are doing her master or even a PhD thesis, the sample size won't be 200 to 500. So approximately we can say less than 500. In such case, of course, the manual entry is little hard, but it is possible. Imagine if your data collection size is in tetrabyte and megabytes and big informations. So automatically the manual entry is not possible, where you have to rely on the machines. So the traditional data is by using the manual entry by the particular researcher, and almost it is a paper-based survey where the survey was conducted in a face-to-face manner. And then the people were using a spreadsheet that I called as a master sheet, where you be using a coding and answer the question answered by the each sample. So that is a traditional data collection, data retrieval. Whereas when you come for the recent one, with the help of artificial and even the machine learning and Internet of Things, the data whatever you collected, it can be autonomous with the help of sensor. It can be done automatically with the connected devices. Like example, if you want to identify the effectiveness of CPR, which is given to an emergency unit in a ER or even in a critical care unit. So in that case, that of all the hospitals, we are using electronic health record. So from the data enter into the electronic health record. So because sometimes the data can be in the form of pictures, or sometimes it can be written in the form of words. So all the things, even this unstructured data can be transferred by the machines very clearly without having a much assistant. Of course, you have to verify it. So during a debriefing, you can check what is went wrong in this one. You can compare the data. So it is done automatically independently with the connected devices from the particular hospital. So when you come for the logic and analysis, mainly the traditional data are static in nature. Always it is a rule-based one. And here the human must interpret the findings according to the statistics or number and whatever it may be. It may be in the phenomenological concept or even ethnographic studies. So whereas when you come for this AI, the recent one, the next generation tool, always it is adaptive and it is AI driven. And here the machines learn from patterns to improve and adjust it. That's the one. Logic analysis can be done exactly as it is in a precise manner. And the decision focus is always the traditional data collection is reactive. It focuses on historical data and past performance, whereas like as everyone said in a traditional, mainly in the quantitative and data, almost everything is pre-structured with a clear protocol. You are going to collect the data as per your study. It can be either explorative or even it can be a descriptive, or even it can be a historical data which can be interpreted in terms of number and even in terms of even in a verbatim as per your design, study designs. Whereas when you come for the AI data collections, always it is a predictive in nature. So that means proactive. It can predict what will happen in the future, like a forecast future outcome and anomalies. Like example, the medical devices which is attached to the patient could able to, even by a simple investigation, it could able to predict when he will develop a cardiac attack or when he's develop a diabetes So this is an advanced study. So the sensor and even the test could able to identify which has been done with a pre-designed algorithm by the machine learning. So they could able to predict. So always it is present as well as even in a proactive in nature. When you come for the data nature, mostly in the traditional one, it is interpreted in the form of structured tables or the or even in a bar diagram or in the numbers. Whereas when you come for the recent data, the technology used data collection tool, here always the data is heterogeneous in nature. So that means it is mixture of structured plus unstructured one. Like example, as I said earlier, even your artificial intelligence tool like a machine learning and even the Python will helps to identify the unstructured information. Like example, it can be the breast mammography images, or even it can be a chest x-ray of the patient, or even it can be audio interpreted by the consultant of the particular patient doctor who is handling the patient, or even it can be the verbatim of the patient who has spoken about his illness, or even because nowadays we are in the form of telemedicines. So sometimes you have to rely on the telemedicines, from the distance information what you are hearing. And even in case of elderly, sometimes they'll be alone, they'll be even talking to you in a shivering language when they are anxiety and other things. So this audio could able to track the patient information and what type of emotion he is in what situation. So that will give you the clue. So that's the most advantage. So you can use even the heterogeneous data effectively. They can interpret very clearly. That's the most advantageous one. And the next, and again, as I said earlier, all these images, how these algorithms are designed means by taking millions and trillions of images. Like example, I said your AI could able to identify the mammography abnormalities, interpret it. So that means already the algorithm is pre-designed by using a thousands of mammography, breast changes, tissue changes, dysplastic and metaplastic changes in a clear manner, minute changes. By using these images, they would have given a clear information. The algorithm has been designed in such a way where it could able to interpret the abnormalities of this picture very clearly. So that is the major advantage. So when you come for the human role and scalability, which is used here in a traditional method, always we need to have a excessive human role, high input, and the researcher has to travel. They have to do a lot of manual collection, and constant oversight is required in a traditional data collection one. But it is limited by human labor and hardware capacities. So that's the one. But whereas when you come for the recent data, now the recent generation, that is AI or IoT or even a machine learning machine learning attached data collections. So the effort is very low. Once it is pre-designed, of course, you do designing this one, fixing it, you need time, but it is comparing with the energy what is spent in a traditional one, it is less, and it has autonomous operation at the edge with the minimal interventions, and it is highly scalable via cloud and edges and computing. As I said earlier, the scalability means the large velocity, large number of data, and even it could able to have a high precise information. The error can be a little minimum here, and the reliability, mainly in the traditional data collection, prone to have a human error, depends upon the researcher mood and their traveling time and their knowledge and credentials. Everything matters, and there is chance for having a bias and misinterpretation when you handle the large number of data. Whereas when you come for the new generation one, always it is quite researched one, and the human error, the chance of human error is very less through automation. So this is a main advantage comparing with the traditional one, and you can go for the new generation data tool. But still, being a teacher, I will emphasize the students to have a clear learn about the all research technique, the basic knowledge, then move on to advanced one. Don't depend only on the machines. Can I go for next slide? Yeah, we'll move on to evolving tools and methodologies in the recent one. As I said earlier, now the era is moved to a techno-friendly one. So we have got lot of automated platform where the tools are using artificial intelligence and the machine learning for the intelligent document processing. We'll call it as IDP and the data integrations. And here we are going for big data tools. There are different app is used in a big data like Hadoop and all the things. This is a one. Of course, when there is a big data is emerged, the initial one is started with big data and Hadoop and everything. Now it has been advanced. We have got so many tools. Humpty number of tools are available. So the big data tools are advantageable. Mainly it give more solution for handling a massive data and diverse data set. As I said, massive data, it is not in thousand, it is in tetrabytes and petabytes you can able to give. So I can give the best example for big data is we have got the SDGs, that is the Sustainable Development Goals, which has been established by the UNO, United Nations, as well as the WHO and CDC. So this global perspective. So imagine you can have what happened during our COVID-19. So when there is a COVID-19 epidemic, the WHO was giving minute by minute statistics, what is happening, how many cases has been reported, nook and corner of the each country. How they could be able to do this means they have got a like SDG, like each country have got, we know that. I need not to tell about what is SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal. We have got a 17 goals. Under 17 goals, one among is communicable disease, another one preventing. So when there is a COVID, by having each country statistics, they have to submit to a WHO. So with that, they could be able to give a minute by minute data in a one. So when you take this total representation of COVID, it went on in million and trillion in globally. So they could be able to collect the data within 24 hours. I will not say even 24 hours. Within an hour, they could be able to collect the information from each and no corner of the country because of this big data. Another one. And as I said earlier, the data are diverse in nature. That means it is heterogeneous, which will have a written words from the doctors, patient information, images from the image study. Of course, sometimes the biochemical readings or biochemical investigation. So all this mixed data can be, even it can be screened by this big data and they could be able to give a interpretation clearly. Another one is programming language. So here the continued dominance of Python and R for the statistical analysis. Of course, we are familiar with the SPSS, and like that R also it's one type of statistical analysis which can be used, which can be effectively, the information can be analyzed by using this mainly this new generation tool. Another one is data orchestrations. So here, how the data can be designed or structured means there are varieties of tools which can manage the complex data pipeline across the different environment. Can I move on to other slide? Yeah, we were talking about the big data. So the recent generations, so it has the 5 V's for modern data. So I can say that the first V stand for volume. So that means the genomic sequencing, which has been done in terabytes per patients. So here the volume, like volume means the amount of data what you are going to interpret. So that is the one. So as I said earlier, here in volume, the recent trend, the volumes are large in number, so which is in terabytes, and even you can record the information, the transactions which is given in the table and files, the large volume of data. So here, of course, when traditionally we used to use the Excel, but here when you go for this big data information, your Excel is not going to help it because the volume, the amount of data what you will be getting is will be more than that. So you have to go for another devices. So in that case, the big data and the modern data is useful. and the other one is velocity. So the velocity is actually it is on the how much patches, the real time streaming from the ICU sensor. As I said earlier, nowadays majority hospitals are those few hospitals we are following a manual recording, and majority hospitals they started using the sensors and even the devices to the patient, where they will transform the data from the electronic health record. So the real-time streaming from the ICU sensor, which will be in a large amount when you connect to the every hospital. Like as I said earlier, COVID time, the entire world statistics can be given in a minutes by minutes changes to the people by WHO with the help of this connective sensor, as well as with the interpretation which is given from the each country to the WHO. So this is the one, the velocity. So it's given in a real near time, but with the help of process and the streamline. And the next one is varieties. As I said earlier, the data, what you're going to collect here in large amount of data is, it is available in the form of structured one, like a lab report, nurse's notes, and doctor information, the medication which is written in the case sheet, and even it can be available in the unstructured form, like a notes, and even in the form of imaging. Like as I said earlier, it can be a chest x-ray of the patient, it can be a CT or MRI, even it can be mammography report of the patients, or even it can be a wound healing, a wound, a picture of the wound which is taken for the diabetic patient. It can be anything. So all this information, the varieties of data, it can be interpreted in the form, as I said earlier, all the pre-designed algorithm which is done in the particular machines. So here the varieties, as I said earlier, it can be structured or semi-structured or even unstructured in a nature, that can be interpreted by the machines very clearly by the pre-designed algorithm. Another one is veracity. So the fourth V is veracity. So here the artificial intelligence driven validation pipelines reducing the human error. So here mainly the veracity here, the trustworthiness, that is the preciseness in interpreting the data. It has been clearly done mainly by the availability with a clear accountability. There are a lot of work is needed behind that to maintain this component. Another one is value. So here when it comes to the fifth V, actionable insight, actionable insight for personalized medicine. So here the value is actually, it is a statistical information which is clearly given, and the events are recorded as it is. You could able to correlate the information, or you can correlate the variables in your study whenever you need it in a clear manner. So the hypothetical information can be judged and clearly it can be given. So these are all the 5 V's where we are lying in the modern data. So we have to move on, we have to know how to interpret our large volume data. So how to collect the data effectively? Because the data is given in the form of number, and even in the of course in the verbatim and other thing, even it can be images. So the information what you are collecting, it should be highly reliable and it must be highly structured. So before moving into a research, before stepping into a data collection, the researcher must have a clear idea about, she must have a clear idea what she is going to do, how he is going to do this data, and when, where, to whom. So she must have a clear idea about her research study by having a clearly defined objectives of your research, and you have to choose the right data collection method. So here the data collection, certain things to be observed, certain things which should be collected in a survey form. So like that you must know the right data collection method which is appropriate for the particular study. And here example, we know the quantitative and qualitative data. I think now you all are saturated with the qualitative data informations. So here when you come for the example for quantitative data, majority time we'll use the survey and even tracking of the particular incident. We can rely on the sensor information which is connected. Like example, you wanted to know the cardiac heart rate of your patient. So the Holter monitor which is connected to the patient body, that will give you the information. Or you wanted to identify the mainly the fits in the convulsion which is developed. So here your EEG sensor, the electroencephalography which is connected to the patient 24 hours will give you the information when this abnormal electrical discharge has been sensed from the brain. So you could be able to identify the epileptic phocogenic area. Same way if the person is having an insomnia. So in that case, when you observe the sensor of the patient during a sleep, you could be able to identify that. So the sensor will give you the informations, continuous sensor or the monitor which is connected to the patient with the connected devices, it will give you the informations. Another one is automated extraction, which is already connected to the machines or newer devices, which will give you the informations. So this is how the quantitative data can be collected. Even the quantitative data, sometimes it can be collected by observation and the event tracking. And even your quantitative data, some study, even you can collect the data retrospectively. So the retrospectively means the incident would have taken past and you will ask the person to tell about what has happened. Like example, you can say the lived in experience of the patient who was connected to a ventilator and who has survived. So in that case, when he recovered, when he transferred from a emergency unit to a high dependence unit or step down areas, you can ask the patient to anything else. Am I clear? Shall I continue? Am I clear?
Hello.
Yes,
Please
madam.
continue.
Clear, madam. Please continue.
Yeah. So you can ask the person when you want to tell the person to narrate or reflect what type of feeling when he was connected to a ventilator. So when you ask the person, so retrospectively, you'll ask the person to explain what has happened in the past. So this is how the quantitative data can be collected. And when you come for the qualitative data, the data, how you can collect is, of course, by the interviews. And as Sar and Dr. Devakribai told, when you are doing an interview, always you have to select the subject, the sample, from whom you can collect, who will talk more. Because in a qualitative data, mainly the researcher will use the probing question. In an open-ended one, you will give chance for the sample to express their feeling in a detailed manner. So always I'll say when the researcher is doing a qualitative data, always go for a mixed method. So when you do a quantitative data, you could able to judge which sample could able to give maximum information from them. Like a quantitative, you are collecting the like a same example, lived in experience of the patient who was connected to a ventilator. So when you are doing a quantitative number can be 30 or 50 or 100, depends upon your sample availability and your research time frame. So from that, the qualitative, you can select the patient with 15 or 20 as per your data saturations or availability. So when you're choosing from this 100, select the 10 or 15 who can give maximum information or who can talk more, who can give more information. So you can select that patient. So you can have a detailed interview by having a prompting questions, and you can have a qualitative data. Even it can be collected in terms of focus group, especially if you are going for the ethnography studies, another one. And you can go for the moderated research where the context is matters a lot. So other one is after deciding your data collection method, you have to standardize the data collection process, because in a research the uniformity is matters a lot. You have to standardize the data collection, though it is a qualitative, you have to standardize and your data collection method, how you will be doing it, what type of questions you will do, and all the thing. You must have a clear standardized data collection process. And the next one is validate the data during the data collections. As you collect the sample, periodically you have to review it, whether everything is filled, especially if you are going for the online questionnaire, another one. If it is face-to-face interview, of course, you are the one who has collected the data. So if it is online, sometimes there will be a missed data. So you have to validate the data even during a data collections. And as you collect the data, though you've done a pilot study and other thing, so if you have a multiple data collection setting, so in that case, people may react or they will understand the question differently. So that to be checked here. Another one is leverage the automation and technology when you decided to use the tool, electronic tool, or even the AI related question tool. ensure data privacy and security, because the essence of research is always the ethics. Because though you are collecting the data, though you are forced to collect the data for completing your PhD or MSc or as per the stakeholder request of your organizations, always the ethics should be considered here, because always we say the anonymity, confidentiality, and even the voluntary consent to be done. Same thing, even if you are using any modern data, you are not supposed to deviate. The ethics to be followed as it is here. Though your missions, you have to see to that the data privacy and the security of the data and anonymity and respect of your patient is maintained at any cost, even if you are sharing your data with other organizations. So you must be very clear in maintaining the ethics which governs with any type of research. And the next one is regularly audit your data in order to avoid the missed data and even bias in getting the information. So this is the things the researcher must remember before stepping into a data collections. Can I have a next slide? The four steps. So this picture will interpret with the four steps which to be followed in effective data collections. So the first one is plan and define your objectives clearly. So here, identify your data you need, why, and we must have a clear goals which helps to improve the satisfaction or information, and align objectives with the measurable outcome. That's the first step. And again, the second one, as I said earlier, right method for the qualitative and quantitative. And the third one is automate the data collections. So here, in automate the data collection, this helps to save the time and reduce the error with automation tools. Use platform like a different, like this is one type of app, different types of app which will interpret and capture the information, validate. Because if later, if you want to collect the information or recheck the information, you could able to retrieve the informations. That's the one. Like example, in a qualitative data, always when you collect the face-to-face informations in one time, if you want to get the same information from the patient, you cannot, because their mood and their situations and the interpretation may have a little difference. Whereas when you cannot retrieve it, though you have got a recorded informations, but when you have this automatic, only when you're having that new generation one, anytime you can retrieve it, and part by part of the particular concept, you could able to get a clear information. You can correlate very clearly and streamline workflows for the better efficiency. And the last one is the analysis, because your data itself, if the researcher may say, I have got thousands of patient data information, unless otherwise it is interpreted in a meaningful way, it doesn't have any value. So your data is its number or in the spoken word. Unless otherwise it is interpreted in a proper analysis manner, it doesn't have a meaning. So the analysis is the important component. So where you will turn the data into a actionable insight or meaningful informations, refine strategies based on analysis, use insight to make smarter and business decisions. So as per your research question, or we'll call it as research objectives. Can I have a next slide? Yeah, so we must know from which are the area we can take the data. So nowadays we are doing a virtual randomized clinical trial, or even with outsource we are collecting the information. So the traditional method, we can collect the data from the registries, like a health data of the client, population data. As I said earlier, you can set the demographic profile, because we even the WHO has announced, as per the sustainable development goal, the goal, so SDG 3 is on the prevention and reduction of non-communicable disease. So one among that is diabetes mellitus. Of course, the India has been announced as the diabetic pooling area. India is the one who's leading. But when they did a population data analysis, they identify the reasons in the population one. So this is one population data will give you the information. Another one is quality register, and even you can get the information from the medical records, and you can get the sample from the patient and even from the patient generated one in terms of survey and the wearable devices. By using apps, you can you can get the information from the patient generated information either from directly or from even in the remote manner. So that can be done. Another one is, of course, from the health insurance people data you can collect. So these are all the real world data sources where you can collect the information. And many time, even your general population can be the sample. So it depends upon your study. And even if the researcher is doing a research on the nursing student satisfaction about their ASCII examinations, so like objective structure clinical examinations. So in that case, the nursing students will be the sample. Or in that case, if you wanted to observe how these students are performing during ASCII, their emotional one, and how their steps they are followed, because as they perform, as the examiner is evaluating, even with the help of, with the permission of the students concerned, the camera can be attached in this each station. So later we can collect the information from this one. We can analyze their reactions, how they are reacting, how they are having a competency in performing a particular skill. So that can be done with the help of collector sensor in the ASCII station, which is connected to that, which can be done. Can I have a next slide? So we are telling this Internet of Medical Things. So we'll say this IoT. Nowadays we are using a IOMT, that is Internet of Medical Things. So it's nothing but it is the sum of the wearable devices which is connected to the patient, which will interpret the patient data. So here the Internet of Medical Things, we'll call it as IOMT, is a network of connected medical devices, software in the hospital and system that can collect, analyze, and transmit health data over the internet. So here we are with the help of this IOMT. Nowadays, lot of decentralized clinical trials has been conducted, especially in the drug trial and everywhere, even in a genome study. Decentralized clinical trials. Other name for this decentralized clinical trials, we'll call it as virtual clinical trial. So the virtual means something in a reality. So with the virtual clinical trial, like by using a simulators, by using this one. So virtual clinical trials. So here commonly they will use the tool for data collecting as the telehealth platform and direct to patient shipping as they transfer the patient from one hospital to another, or even from the disaster scene to a hospital. So the patient shipping sensor could be able to give you the information, and even the remote sensor will give you about the patient parameters. So by that the people can give the information what can be done in the emergency situation. So this is all the tool which helps to identify the clinical trials, and even the data is harvested in terms of real world evidence which can collect where the information can be collected in the patient home itself. So either the researcher need not to travel to his place, or even the patient need not to come to a hospital. So he can do his work as normal in his home situations, whereas the sensor which is connected to the patient, which will give you the real world evidence of your patients. So that can be done. So the diversity here is, normally it helps to remove the geographical barrier for the participants. So sometime when the patient is asked to come to the hospital, he may have a little anxiety and he has to travel, he has to spend a lot of time, of course the minimal money and everything, that can be minimized here. So there are different technology can be used, and your next slide will tell you how these medical devices, like from which all the sources you can get the digital information of the client. Because nowadays, I don't know how many of them are using the Apple Watch. The simple example, I don't know, majority of them will be using your Apple Watches. So from your watches, I don't know. So your Apple Watches is it's connected to 2 or 3 devices, including your laptop and even your mobile. So this will help to identify your heart sensor, your heartbeat, how many steps you have walked in the particular days, how much you exercise, what type of sedentary life, how many hours you have slept. So it could be able to give all the informations, the basic one. So the same way with the patients depends upon the data what you want collect, you can use the devices. All these devices is wearable in nature, so that means it can be connected to the patient. Each devices will give you the different information as per it has been designed. Like example, if you are using a earbud, it can able to you can able to identify the patient core temperature, which will especially it is useful in case of hypothermic client. And even we have got a swimming cap, so that could be able to give you the information about the patient. Mainly this heart monitoring devices, it can be used. So like that, the bodily devices which can be toothpaste, which will tell about the patient dental children conditions. It is useful for the children. And even your spectacles, the glasses, which can connect it to a patient, which can give you the information about your brain functions. So like that, there are so many devices nowadays, the wearable devices which can be available. So you can collect, or with the help of this attachable sensor, each information can be collected from the patient. It can be the information which is connected from the each patient sensor will be registered in the devices, the data collecting devices. Then you can retrieve the information from the date and time, and even by precise time as the what type of work the patient was doing, and everything can be retrieved very clearly. That's the one. This is a lot of devices nowadays. Majority hospital, the simple example, even the 12 lead ECG what you are connecting to the patients from this monitor, because the which is connected to a central monitor in the physician table, will have a will connection of all your 10 patients who is admitted in ICU. So from that you can collect. So this is also one type of devices. So same way, the devices which is connected to like a Holter monitor and all the things, so which will give you the informations. Even your mainly the pulse oximetry, what is connected to a patient's, like example in a COVID pulse oximetry, so which is pulse oximetry which is connected to a patient index finger, which will give you information about the patient oxygen saturation minute by minute. So you can collect it from the devices. Can I have a next slide? So here, as we all know, we say this AI and IoT, IOM. So the artificial machines is nothing but it's like a who can, the artificial intelligence is like a machines who can process and recreate human intelligence in a machines, which can allow them to carry out activities that would normally require human intelligence. For instance, interpreting the data, recognizing the patterns, forecasting outcomes, and solving the problem, and making a decision in order to achieve the objectives of your particular task or particular research outcome. So here the machine learning is a subset of AI that involve training computer algorithms to learn patterns in data and make predictions or decisions based on the data what has been collected in particular devices. So like AI almost which will mimic the work of the researcher if it is designed, if the algorithm are designed which match with the objectives or research questions of the particular researcher. Can I have the other next slide? So here the artificial role of artificial intelligence in data collections. First one is it is automated one. So the AI automates the gathering of data from various sources, which can reduce the manual effort and error. And you could get the real-time data processing because the AI enable the collection and analysis of data in a real time, which can facilitate timely decision making. So within a short time, you could be able to get a large data informations and handling large data set. So the artificial intelligence efficiently process vast amount of data, as I said earlier, terabyte and the hexabyte, large amount of data, which identifying patterns and insight that might be missed by human analysis. And the benefit of AI in data collection is it can improve accuracy and reliability, which can reduces the human error in sampling, enhanced efficiency and speed, the ability to uncover complex pattern and trends, and the scalable data collection because it can handle the large data set efficiently. So this is a usefulness. What is as again we were talking about the big data. So in the big data, in the healthcare aspect, when you come for how this big data, because nowadays the big data are used mainly in the marketing field. Like example, if the company, the Colgate company wanted to create a brush for the children, so what they will do is they will analysis in the media and they will collect the data, what color of brushes majority children have bought, what they are interested. So by seeing this one, the marketing field, they will create like children, the girls are bought pink or blue, or the pictures like superhero pictures, toothbrushes more have got a more demand. They will design to attract the customer. Same way in our healthcare field, our customer satisfaction is only the patient and their healthcare, mainly their relatives. So in order to satisfy the patient and to serve, of course, we'll say in the research, the knowledge which is taken from the practice field to be re-given to the practice area itself in terms of evidence-based practice. So here we'll come for this big data. So in the healthcare, it is refers to a massive volume of data created by the digitization of everything that get measured and recorded in the healthcare system. So this data comes from the variety of sources, including electronic health record, medical imaging, genomic sequencing, because nowadays the trend, we are almost in a cloning. Many even the organ, the virtual heart and other organ can be genomically they have designed. So there are genomic lot of, even this genetic disorder has been nowadays, it has been screened and it can be prevented earlier, which is most useful for the genetic counseling and all the things, and for the handling this genomic, because as we all know, our body is made up of trillion and millions of genetics. The moment you are conceived in your mother, almost you are pre-designed. So this pre-designed, this genetic study will help to predict what the future, the what type of disease can be developed for the children, that can be studied. Your genomic abnormalities, everything can be studied very clearly. As we all know, every day 10 million new cells are formed in our body. Then 10 million new cells, 10 million cells are destroyed with the help of our genomic one. So as I can say this, God is a very good architecture. He designed in our body in such a way human can do a lot of research to identify his miracle work. So the genomic sequencing can be studied with the help of this big data by studying genes in our body and abnormalities and their arrangement. And even the records, like example, nowadays many countries have got a diagnosis, we'll call it as DRG, this diagnosis related group. And because majority hospitals, the insurance company, the government is paying for the patient, the claim. So in that case, when the person, like as per the DRG, each diagnosis have got how many days your patient can stay in a hospital. So as per this DRG role, like example, in many countries, the cardiac catheterization is considered to be outpatient procedure. So if the patient is stayed for extra 1 day or 2 days, the government has to pay. So in that case, they will raise the question, why this DRG is considered as the OPD procedure, why this patient is stayed for the 2 days, what is the reason, why we have to give this much mediclaim for this patient. So from the payer's record, they could identify and track what is went wrong and what is the reason, that can be tracked here. Another one is the pharmaceutical research. As I said earlier, nowadays a lot of vaccination and drug trial is going on, and of course, pharmaceutical trial. If they are doing any trial, initially the trial will be done on the animals. Once the efficacy of the drug is safe, then the trial can be conducted in the human. And nowadays, the people wanted to do a synthetic sampling one. So that means the AI will create like a human-like persons. So in this synthetic human-like simulator, they will introduce the drug and they can see the efficacy. So again, the human is safe. The drug efficacy can be proved effectively without damaging the human or having a human as a trial. So a lot of pharmaceutical research companies are nowadays, they're using the synthetic data collection tools. Another one. And of course, the wearable devices will give you the information about your patient parameter, like a biomedical parameter, without disturbing the patient. You can get their heartbeat, heart rate, and even you can get their blood glucose level and everything. Another one is the medical devices. and among the others. So this is all the one from big data, the information can be collected. So you can get this maximum information from this integrated data at WHO Internet, how this World Health Organization collected this information by using a big data that can be retrieved here by using this link. Can I have a next slide? So what are the data types that can be obtained here? Quantitative and qualitative data. So this is the one like a machine learning from this big data or all these connected devices. You can get the information in the form of quantitative as well as even in the qualitative. You can get lot of demographic data in terms of their age, gender, occupation, nationality, etc. Because I was telling in a diabetic, WHO has announced India is the hub of diabetic. How they announced by having this number, and they identify this gender region, and even they identify what is the reason why these Indians are having more amount of diabetic. They generalize mainly the dietary pattern, because in our diet we include more amount of carbohydrate than the protein and other one. So that is the one they could able to conclude. Another one is psychographic data, so which will tell about the purely about the interest and the social behavior, values, and even a lifestyle of the people, how it influence the particular disease or anything. Next one is AI technique in data collections. So the AI technique, the data can be collected by machine learning, which helps to analyze the data pattern to improve the sampling method. And even you can use the NLP, that is a natural language processing component, so which can gather the insight from unstructured data sources, like even from the social media influence survey, and in case of hospital sector, as I said earlier, unstructured data which can be used. Another one is automation. It streamlines data collection process like a chatbot for the survey and all the things. Can I have a next slide? Are you comfortable? Am I making myself clear to you?
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Okay, so the next one is qualitative data here analysis. So here optimizing the data analysis of the data which can be collected in the form of verbatim, another interview. So here the artificial intelligence can handle the time consuming task of qualitative analytics, including the transcription of the interview or the verbatim which is spoken by the patient or by the focus group recording. Because as I said earlier, majority of a traditional style is two interviewer, two researcher will hear the verbatim and both of them will come to a common conclusion. This is how, again, the human interpretation, the same word, two people can hear or interpret in a different manner. So for that reason, so the transcribing, so here the mission will include this interview and focus group, and it will do a qualitative data analysis as per the content, and it can also enable efficient coding. The coding can be done by the missions with algorithm automatically, which is categorizing data by applying the code into a text, applying the codes into a text. And another key area in artificial intelligence which can help in qualitative data analysis is thematic recovery. Thematic discovery is nothing but it is a spoken word or the verbatim which is expressed by the patient in terms of feeling, which can be categorized into different themes. Like as SAR said, what they feel about the privatization of the college, privatization of the nursing college. So the theme can be mentioned like a positive opinion or negative opinion, like that you can categorize. So it can clearly have a sub-theme from the verbatim which is spoken by the client, and based on that it can cluster the similar meaning or similar words in a paraphrased manner, and it is revealed the recurring themes, how many times it can be repeated by the same sample in a different source. So for that categorization, this data is useful. So the tool can categorize the customer feedback in cluster like usability, concern, or support issues. So that can be identified. Okay, that's the one. So I'll try to complete very fast. So the recent trends, So the recent trends in research data tool is we have got a different tool like many university like our PNU, our Princess Nora Abdul Rahman University. Now they are connected with the Survey Monkey and they wanted to have a clear red cap for the researcher because the Princess Nora Abdul Rahman University they are giving a researcher support fund for the all the teachers because ours is the women's largest university. They wanted to empower the Saudi women. So for that reason, there are a lot of research support and scholarship is given to the researcher as well as the teacher, and even like a free of cost. They wanted to initiate the Survey Monkey. They initiated, and Red Cap also it is in the pipeline. Very soon they'll be giving this tool to everyone. So here this is all the tool common recent trend tool. One is Survey Monkey, and of course, the Google form and Google Sheets are commonly used, the microforms. So the Survey Monkey, of course, many of these tools are free. The Survey Monkey, it is the best for professional grade survey with vast library of pre-designed template. It offers the deeper reporting of CRM, that's content informations, and mainly it is free. Another one is Google Form. As I know, many it's not a new. Many of you might have used. So this is also in a free of cost. This is mostly user friendly, and it is it is easy to collect the simple data which can integrate. And once you collect the information in the Google Form, you can have a spreadsheet. So directly you can transfer the Google Sheet. So where we need not to manually do a master sheet. So for that reason, it is a real data organization. And many of our students are using a Google form, but many times, as we all know, nowadays people are not responding to this Google form clearly. So periodically you can revise, or you have to go back because three of our master student who is connected with the Dublin University, they were collecting the data. One student did the opinion or even the survey about the nurses and the physician, mainly the healthcare personnel, especially she assessed the burnout and the compassionate fatigue. As per our time schedule, we could not collect the response from all the doctor healthcare people in the particular hospital. She has to go back, and of course, in a Google form, we are maintaining anonymity, so we could not identify who has responded or not responded. But still, the student went there and she checked everybody whether they have responded. So whomsoever is not responded, immediately she made them to get a free time and she could give the link. She asked the people to fill it out. So sometimes when you use this online tool, you cannot get the adequate information. Can I have a next slide? So another advanced research tool where you can use this RedCap. Actually, this RedCap is the actually US designed research electronic data capture. So this can help you to, it's a very good web applications specifically for building a research databases in a longitudinal survey where your research is done in a repeated and long-term manner. So it is mainly used for the medical and academic setting for the high-level security data. So the main clinical feature is for the red cap is it is undergoing for the regulatory compliances with the built-in support, because as I mentioned, the data privacy is the important one, whatever tool you are using or whatever information you are going to collect the data. So this red cap have got a very good data privacy information which adhere as per the rules of this HIPAA and the GDPR. So this Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, as per the legal document, the legal component, they have designed this tool in such a way where the data privacy is protected, and even they could follow they are adhering with the rules of GDPR, that is a General Data Protection Regulation, which is exclusively the legal data privacy which comes under the European countries when you are using the electronic records and signature, which is applicable whichever organization is using this AI tool. They have to adhere with any one of these legal boundaries or legal one which helps to protect the data. So red cap is useful for the audit trial as per the FDA and IRB institutional review board inspection. Periodically you can review and track the data, track how the researcher or how the data has been retrieved by following this legal boundaries. And you can check this data quality tool, and even it is initially it may take time, but it is cost effective only. Can I have a next slide? Another type of advanced research tool which is used in the clinical area is Qualtrics. So this is also which will have a built-in statistical analysis, which is very much useful in the mainly in the healthcare sector. Can I have a next slide? So there are different tools which can be used in the community and aging group, mainly for the geriatric group to collect the data. So the example is Health Smart Home. So this concept is actually it's instrumental activities, helps to identify the instrumental activities of daily living, mainly the ergonometric mobility of the patient, elderly persons by using the motion detector which is attached with the fridges, medication cabinet and bathroom. So it helps to identify what type of mainly the mobility or the activities of living the patient is having, joint movement and all the things, how much they are doing flexion and all the things can be studied without the patient involvement. We could be able to monitor continuously. So this is mainly it is early, which helps to identify the early cognitive declining among the elderly, so when they are doing a routine work. So this is a study which is used. You can use this reference to retrieve the complete information about this study. Next study. Next one. So there are different tools which can be used in the nursing among the nurses as a sample, or the teacher, nursing teacher and student. One is nursing education and workforce research. So here the simulation data harvesting is available. So the context of the research is they can use the high fidelity mannequin. Like example, in nowadays majority colleges are attached with the simulation lab. So they can use the high fidelity mannequin. Examples are like a lateral and Simman. So that means that when you use the word high fidelity mannequin means the simulator can able to do a little parameter. You can adjust the cardiac parameter, it can blink, it can cry, you can see the pupil dilation and everything. So that you will call it as a high fidelity mannequin. So here the data can be collected. Data which is collected in this particular study was the students' reaction time when they did the CPR, and even how they identify the defibrillator, that is the cardiac rhythm which is altered in the Simman, and how much time they took to identify the abnormal cardiac rhythm, and they could defibrillate the patients. And the research analysis which is helps to identify the cognitive load of the particular nursing students via the tracking glasses on nursing students during emergency scenarios, which is attached with the missions. And like that, there are a lot of workforce wearable devices are there, where the nurses can attach these wearable devices like smart patches and pedometer. This helps to identify the physical load of the nurses when they work for more than 12 hours, the number of steps, how much she walked, how much time she had when she is lifting and transferring the things to the patient. And of course, her burnout and stress level can be studied by the smart patches. And this helps to identify like a research burnout, fatigue, and even you can correlate between a long-term shift with the nurses and their medical error. So this was a study which is conducted by 2024 by this one. So as I, yeah, can I have? So as I said earlier, the data, as I said earlier, you can collect the data, research, but still remember the ethics. The bias should be avoided. You have to respect your sample even before and even during a data collection and even after data collection. When you publish, when you interpret, and your privacy of your patient to be always respected throughout and even after completing your studies. So here there are certain challenges which is faced by the researcher when they use the artificial intelligence based medical devices. The first one is the patient concern, because still we are under developing countries, still people are fear about the machines and other things. So here the patient concerned and the clinical practices, this is the leading challenge. Does the patient understand the complexities of AI based data processing? So they say someone is observing by connecting the devices and other things. So in that case, they must be volunteer enough to understand the concept clearly. Then they have to give a rights to give a consent. So the patient concern to be respected, making them to understand how the data will be collected and how it is interpreted, how his privacy will be protected. All the things to be clearly explained to the patient before concerning. And like nowadays, a lot of reliable tool. A lot of this AI tool have got a voluntary electronic consent is available in the tool itself. So you have to give a clear explanation to the patients before getting a consent. Another one is reliable and trusted recommendations, and the medical data that is used for training algorithm, it was not vast enough for AI based devices to recommend tested recommendations. This become challenges in case of critical illness, like all sometime the real world data, sometime which happen to the, again of we'll say that each patient is unique and they will react to a same disease in a different manner. So sometimes the designed algorithm, sometimes it can be not reliable. Another one is data privacy and cyber security, because as I said earlier, the large number of data which is connected to the machines from the hospital, sometime it can be hacked. So in that case, that preserving the data privacy is important. So all the medical devices here, the medical devices interact and it is shared and it is interconnected across the different apps in the particular hospital. Even the manufacturers and the hospital must put security and privacy control, such as encryption in the place is very much important. So the each hospital nowadays they are you having for going for the blockchain, where the information is blocked by connecting only with the inter-organization. So that still, but the security and preserving the data to be checked and it should be monitored every time continuously. And of course the algorithm bias, as I said earlier, the images which is taken from the 1,000 mammography which is fed into a computer machine, then it gives interpretation based on the changes. So here the algorithm bias can happen sometime, so especially in case of gene related data and all the things. Can I have a next slide? So the key challenges, solutions, of course, the same thing, the encryption of data and all the things. The solution, how we can overcome this problem. We have identified the problem. So the strategies to overcome the problem is to have a data privacy, always encrypt the data in a transit and at rest, reset manner. Reinforce access control and audit log. That means you must know who are all the people is permitted to use another one. Use transparent consent and retention policies to clarify how data will be used. Adopt privacy by design and routinely audit collections, workflow, compliances with the data and with the people whomsoever is handling the data. And to overcome the data bias and fairness, the solution is use diverse representative data set, conduct bias auditing frequently, and apply fairness and enhancing the technique. And to overcome the trust and transparency, the challenges is use different types of block box to control the data one. And even the solution is be transparent about the data use, collect explicit consent that is often, explain data sources and learning process clearly. Can I have a next slide? So we are in, as I said earlier, future visions. Every minute the technology is changing. New old one is outdated, new one is added. So in a future, we can move on to a fully autonomous research assistant to collect the data or to conduct the research. So the stakeholder can appoint the autonomous research assistant, and we can have a decentralized and ethical data exchange between the organization to another. Human plus AI can co-pilot the research. Digital twins can be created, that is creating a virtual replica of patients using harvested data to especially test the drugs before prescribing them. It has been already piloted by the many pharmaceutical company, like a virtual replication of human testing the drug is already it is started. Predictive analytics, that is moving from diagnostic what happened, from that we can move predict what will happen. This is also started, many research has been in the pipeline that they started implementing by using a minute sensor. By introducing this body, they could able to predict the heart attack within 2 hours before it occur. Same way they could able to predict the genetic disease before it could develop. the time and they can do a measurement. So it is always in a proactive. Now we are moving into a proactive research. And the federated learning, again, the artificial intelligence model that learn from hospital data without the data ever leaving the hospital, secure servers, secure server. So as we all know, the each hospital will have a IT department and legal bound. So they will periodically check that their patient data is not shared with anyone, because in even in Saudi Arabia, the data patient confidentiality is the considered to be a biggest one. Even when we take our students, when they want to do a case study and the nursing care process, they are not allowed to take photos from the electronic health record, and each electronic health record is locked by the code number which is given to a particular team leader and the preceptor. They are the one who will open and give the information. The patients cannot, the student cannot use the patient name. Instead, we'll ask them to use either the first word of the patient, or we'll ask them to put X. They are not supposed to use the name of the patients and address and everything. So they are not supposed to write. So the confidentiality of your patient information is the priorities at whatever stage or whatever information you're collecting. It may be a life-saving data for the future one, but still the ethics and confidentiality to be preserved during and even after data collections. Can I have a next slide? Can I have a next slide, please? Yeah, summary. I think we have come to a conclusions. I think almost I've done with my time limit. So we are in a 2026 scenario. So the effective data collection methods are prerequisites for the speed, compliance, and automation. Whether you use survey, digital tracking, or automated tool, the key is to align the method, tool, and governance with your research outcome. So the next generation tool improve the speed, scalability, and intelligence. So choose the tool based on the goal of your research, data types, what you wanted to collect, and of course adhere with the ethics of your institution and the setting wherever you are collecting the data. And the next generation tool are shifting medicine from reactive to proactive. Like as I said earlier, future oriented, predicting the disease earlier. Data harvesting is become passive, continuous, and invisible by using the recent next generation tool. The ultimate goal is not just to collect more data, but to gain actionable insight that save the life of the people. Invest in skill development, and data strategy is the important one. Can I have a next slide? The last next slide, please. Yeah, this is a reference. The next slide. So this is all the web link where you can use the different type of tool, you can use it. The last slide. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for your patient attention. I hope, as I have declared, I have motivated few students to use the next generation tool, or at least take measures to learn, because I know, comparing with me, you all are techno friendly, because when we studied nursing, even I didn't had a computer in computer as one of the subject, but you have got a computer as one of the subject long term back. And recent curriculum we have mainly the health informatics has been added one of the subject. So we are updating you all the nursing student as per the trend which is happening throughout the world. So every time we are helping the nursing students to face with the today knowledge, we are giving a skill ability for them to face tomorrow. So that's the one. So try to update. You can try using a different types of tool. As I said earlier, many tools are free of cost. You can use it. Thank you. Thank you for the organizer and for the even for the participant, for the patient listening. Of course, your take home, you will learn few concepts related to a next generation tool in data collections. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. A big round of applause for Dr. Chandrakala, ma'am. Uh, her presentation has been so humble and down to earth, because there is a mixed audience here, UG and PG and uh, and also doctorate students. So your presentation has been very down to earth, I must say. It was not flying out. Everybody was in. The students have been disciplined. Uh, you have elaborately talked upon the AI and how it is building upon the generation tool for the data harvesting, evolving tools for the modern data sciences in nursing, data collection efficiencies, the method we have talked in a very elaborate way, and the steps which has to be taken for the data efficiency collection, and the Internet of Medical Things. That was a very useful and interesting. I hope all the students have gained the big data and how it can play a role, the types of data and the trends that it is showing towards the future prospect and also used in the nursing research, the challenges as well as the future prospects for the budding talent. Uh, Before I could ask a question, just I want to reiterate because our Prime Minister is a very tech savvy and digital friendly. So he always says that data is the new oil which can drive the latest innovations, and there is data everywhere around us. It's only us that how we visualize and how we capture and which are the important sets of data that can help us to take us to the next level. So this has been very well explained by you. And so before I ask, so I would like the audience, if there is anything that you would like to ask, anything related to the topic. The audience, they have been a very patient listener, but now I hope they will also participate. Yeah. Mm. Okay. So yeah, actually also time shortage. So just there is a question, ma'am, which was coming up. Is there any possibility that the manipulation, because now we are living in a space where we are all target oriented, we have to achieve something within a target framework, and we are manipulative. Many times the researcher is manipulative. So is there any possibility that the data tools that you have talked about could also check if there is a manipulation in the data while the collection of data, or in a set to divert or bias? So I hope if any there are tools that could check the manipulative data as well.
Yeah, I can understand, sir. That's why I was telling about the algorithm bias. Because when you collect the human, of course, as I said earlier, your mood and your question you can manipulate. But since it is machine, it could be able to interpret as it is. Whatever it has been designed by having a pre-designed algorithm, it could be able to collect as it is. Of course, the machine will give you the interpretation. It is a human who's going to write and interpret as it is. So the manipulation, ideally speaking, the machine will not do unless otherwise there is algorithm bias. So of course the human can do anything as they wish. That's all.
Thank you. Um, side, audience are asking a question that when we use AI tools for analysis of data like Python, how much the reliability of the results will be there, ma'am? Whether it will be come close to the what result we get through SPSS, it will be same, or the AI tool can give a chance for error also, ma'am? Because many times ChatGPT generating the false information. So analysis tool like AI, Julius, or something, how much it will be credibility, how we can prove it.
And many tool, when you took a AI generated tool, it has been already connected to a either SPSS or R. SPSS are. So in that case, when they do analysis, 99% we can say it is a reliable information, but still you can consider, as you said, the chat GPT, it could able to give your answer your questions as per analyzing the data which has been already fed related to a concept. But still there is chance for developing a error, the understanding, because the mission, so the how it is perceiving, how you are using this prompting word, how you fed the information, that matters a lot. Again, the speedability and everything is done by the machines, and it is the researcher responsibility to counter check. The possibility of error is very rare, but still you can counter check it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All the new generation tool is connected to the either with the R analysis concept or with the SPSS.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
I got it,
almost
ma'am.
how you are doing the same thing.
I got it, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you
Sadish.
so
And
much.
I enjoyed taking the lecture with your group. Thank you for organizer and everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Suresh, ma'am. It was a very, very enriching session. I'm sure the students and the audience, the participants have gained a lot. And I'm sure the latest government policies as well as the data centers will help us in achieving this new role. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So now we are going to felicitate our today's moderator, Dr. Chandan Pradhan, Associate Professor, MSN Department, KIT University. For that, I am requesting our Dean Madam, Associate Dean Madam. I would like to request Dr. Bharat Parikh sir, Professor P.S. Edwin Anand sir, to join with our Dean Madam and Associate Dean Madam on the stage. No, no. Yeah, no. No, no, no. No, no, don't. No, no, make it easy. So, no, no, yeah. Yes.
The book is not just a collection of pages, it is a reflection of deep thought, experience, and a desire to contribute knowledge. Every book released adds value to the society by inspiring minds, shaping perspective, and promoting learning. To mark a special milestone, today we are privileged to witness the outcome of dedicated effort, scholarly insight, and creative expression. On this note, let us proceed with the formal release of the book and celebrate this meaningful intellectual contribution.
Now it's time for release of Adult Health Nursing One book by Vision Publication. The author of the book is Jyoti Katwal, and the founder of the Vision Publication is Dr. Bharat Parikh sir. যদি মনে হয় তারপর হচ্ছে উপর থেকে তো আমার পারফেক্ট করছি রে পারফেক্ট করছি কই বলি ম্যাডাম কହୁଛନ୍ତି ଏଇଟା ତମକୁ ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି
What happened?
Over to you, sir.
So this is the book of adult health nursing, written by Dr. Jyoti Katwal. She is the associate professor in AIMS, Himachal Pradesh. And the book is Adult Health 1, basically for third semester students. Nicely designed. What exactly the book is mainly focused on the nursing care. This is the only book where we have added the nursing care plan as per the requirement of Indian nursing students. Along with that, the book comes with a QR code. So this is a unique quality of all VHS books, that in a very first page you'll find a QR code, and with that QR code you can access to PPTs. And we're also coming with the lectures for that, all the chapters. So we are trying to connect the content with the PPTs and PPTs with the lectures. So it's a kind of an ecosystem we are creating, where the student will have a complete information about a topic on a one platform. And of course, the important point is the book is prepared by considering the NORCET and other competitive exams into mind. So I hope that book will help you to meet your professional goals, and will also help you in professional journey. So thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this platform.
Dr. Bharat Parikh sir and Vision Foundation Publication Services. We are really thank you for honoring us by releasing a new book. So Dreams, from Dreams Management and from the Faculty of School of Nursing and from all other participants. Yes, we are really happy to receive your honor, and thank you so much for releasing this book on our conference. Thank you so much, and hope students you will get benefited out of this book, and please use this facility what is available, and I'm wishing you very all the best. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Book, book, Piyush. But they are not giving. ଯା ଏଠି ପଛରେ ରାଖ ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ନେଇକି କାଇଁ ଏମିତି ବହୁତ ତିଆରି କର ମନା କରାହେଇଛି କି ତମକୁ serious publication adult
We have a book launch of Adult Health Nursing 1 and 2 by
CBS publication
CBS Publication, Usha Utkan.
I'm not actually, I'm not feeling it. So what why my thing if you are calling HOD, you have to call everyone, no? Okay. No, that's I told you for maybe it depends on the next feature. Which feature it is, you can continue otherwise you want. Well, no.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, so the book launch we have just done is Adult Health Nursing. It's for third and fourth semester students. It's available now in our stall, and the author is from Chautaram College of Nursing, Indo. So, and she has her name is Usav Kande. She has been represented in various conferences, India and outside India also. Even she represented in US, one of the conference that held from India only. And we are giving some exciting books along with other books. So you can visit our stall that is there in the along with NLL Academy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. CBS publication. I'm wishing them very all the best. And they also released today Adult Health Nursing 1 and 2. I expect all the students will be, please utilize the books. And we have 4 stalls arranged in lawn backside. You please go and check and get benefited it. Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for CBS publications also utilizing our stage to publish the books. Thank you, sir.
And 3 and 4.
Students, your lunch is arrived. You can go and have your lunch. All of you, please reach the auditorium by 1:40. Our session will sharply start at 1:45. Okay.
One done here.